That's right, folks. It's Sunday. We have 3 hours, and I feel like saying commercial-free football, of commercial-free fantasy football questions and answers. That's right, folks. We have 3 hours of our Sunday live show. We're going to sit here, and we're going to answer all your Sunday live questions. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you're watching this later in the week for whatever reason, you just want to hear some good analysis for the next 3 hours, and you just want to hang out, go make sure you subscribe to the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel. But make sure you just hop on to razzball.com. We got great tools and resources over there as well. But let's get the show started. Today, we're going to be doing our Sunday Live Start Sit show starting right now. First man on the list today is one of my co-hosts, Matt Styles. Matt, you can follow Matt at Matt Styles08. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, good morning. Glad to be back. I was on the road last week, but happy to be here. And look at the first comment you've got already from Scott. That's the way we want to open the show.
Oh, yeah. The next one we have helping us out today with our Sunday live show is Gladys Louise Tyler, the closer, if you will. the one you call in to finish the game right now. How you doing, Gladys? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? Ready for football?
Oh, yeah. I honestly, I get up in the morning and I think, I'm up at 5 and just kind of for some reason when it's Sunday, I don't care anymore. I'm like, all right, let's do it. Any other day, getting up for work, I'm miserable. This is not even fun. 5 a.m. on a Sunday, I'm like, let's do it. I'm super stoked. Yeah, exactly. It's probably not healthy. I probably should be just as grumpy, but unfortunately, I'm excited and I'm ready to go.
Or be just excited Monday through Friday.
Well, yeah, that would be the ultimate. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. So, well, maybe one day. Maybe if I'm doing this full time one day, I'll be able to. I'll do it, joy. But yeah. So essentially, first off, I just want to give people a couple quick updates. Obviously, the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel, we're rocking this Sunday live show for 3 straight hours. But we also want to make sure you're checking out our brand new tools and resources. If you haven't checked out the Fantasy Football Data tab on Razzball.com, I'm telling you, you are missing out. We have stats and data that you need to help set your lineups. If we don't have a show that day and you just want to go to Razzball.com, we have slot first wide data analysis now where you can see how many fantasy points a defense allows to the slot versus out wide to wide receivers. We have an adjusted line yards matchup metric for running back. So if you want to see how good the offensive line is for the defensive line, it is a great way to figure out your last RB2 spot or flex. Very, very good there. We also have a defensive targets allowed analysis now right on Razzball where you can see how many targets each defense allows by position. You can't find this stuff anywhere right now. And we have it on Razzball.com. And the best part too is, folks, it's for free. I'm losing my mind over here. For free? What am I doing? Come on. But this is awesome. I think it's fantastic. I'm super excited. Before we start getting some questions rolling in, I'm going to kick it over to you, Matt, first. Instant reactions from heading into week 3. Any players, standout situations, anything you want to highlight before we get the show started?
So, I write the waiver wire article, and I was off last week traveling, but I will readily admit, right? I apologize to all of the readers. I was wrong on Curtis Samuel, and I was wrong on Curtis Samuel, and I was absolutely wrong on Curtis Samuel. So I may have been right on Ty Davis-Price, but he came up with an injury. So I will take a knee on that one. But for sure, if you didn't hear me the first 3 times, I was absolutely wrong on Curtis Samuel. Now,
okay, so wait. Before you go further, I want to ask you: do you think you were wrong about Curtis Samuel, or do you think you might have been kind of right about Curtis Samuel?
Let me say this: this week I may look a little bit better because I think, and we'll probably get a question that leads into that, but I think that Philadelphia front is going to punch Washington in the mouth this week. I don't think Carson Wentz is going to look like weeks 1 and 2 Carson Wentz, but we'll save that for when somebody asks. And I will go back to your original comment about the free tools. It's very possible that Bobby Lamarco's information on slot versus wide has helped me make a decision to insert Tyler Lockett over Alan Lazard, and maybe we get into that later when a question comes in.
That's awesome. Yeah,
the game.
It is. It's a game changer.
The other thing too,
I was wrong on Curtis Samuel. Okay.
Yeah. I was also just want to let you know about the Eagles comment. I have them in every one of my DFS lineups this week. The Eagles defense. I have them in all my season-long lineups. I am all in on the Eagles. I actually flipped out the Steelers last minute for the Eagles. And at the time, I'm like, that's going to be a low-scoring game. I'm like, there's something about the Eagles game. I want to get the Eagles. I think Carson Wentz is going to throw like 2 picks minimum. Yep. And one of those could be going for a touchdown, I can see. But Gladys, anything about for you that you kind of have you want to talk about week 3? Anything, any player, any situation that stands out to you before we get started?
Okay, first of all, you guys know that I'm like a huge Steeler fan, so we're not going to even mention the Steelers ever again today, Bobby. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
Bad start. Between that being wrong about Curtis Samuel and me upsetting you about the Steelers, this show is not doing well.
Great start. Oh, I have to, since we're like admitting mistakes, Larry, I think it was, who said he was all on my Donovan Peoples-Jones. I am so sorry. I didn't know there'd be an Amari Cooper sighting coming up like twice. Thursday night and last Sunday. Amari Cooper just decided to pop in and start playing football for the Cleveland. It's like, hey, yeah, I'm here. Hey, throw it to me. No, what? No, that's not awesome. What? Shut your mouth. But for this week, Jalen Hurts, baby. If you're playing DFS, pay up for him. Pay up for Jalen Hurts because he's going to get both the running and the passing. I read something where, like, when he joined the Eagles, like Carson Wentz was like the cool kid and they wouldn't talk to him or anything. I think he's going to show Carson Wentz who the cool kid is this week. Like, yeah.
I like that. I totally forgot about the Carson Wentz factor.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So
I might have to make some changes.
What universe is Carson Wentz a cool kid?
Because he had that big. He just gotten that big. He just gotten the big contract. Right before they got Jalen Hurts. So he thought, I'm the shit.
I make a little money too, not a lot, but my kids will tell you, I'm not cool.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Listen, I gotta tell you that I love narratives for some reason. One of the most overlooked aspect of weekly fantasy football is these narratives, like the revenge. A lot of people highlight the revenge game when the player plays their old team, but no one knows like the deep down, like the Jalen Hurts might be like, hey Carson, oh, you think you're hot? Shit. Hold on, I'm gonna own your ass today. I love that. I'm updating the DFS lineups today. Jalen Hurts today.
Did you see what Darius Slade did to Justin Jefferson in week 2?
I did.
Nasty. Nasty.
The weirdest part is, like, in week 1, they moved Jefferson all over the field. And then Darius Slade does not kick into the slot. So, like, if at that point, just put Justin Jefferson in the slot all the entire time. It makes no – see, he just kept lining up over there. And then Kirk Cousins is trying to throw jump balls over there, and it's not working. I'm like, how is it at this point you can't just say, maybe we'll – because Slade only plays on the outside, and he actually plays mostly on one side. They didn't really use him as a shadow necessarily. Yeah. But they just said, Jefferson, we're just going to put you on him while he's red hot. It's so dumb. I honestly, and the thing is, the craziest part is, like, I don't even think none of us we're not going to sit here and pretend like we're all like better than NFL coach. I'm not saying that, but my point is sometimes it's just common sense. Like, it's just like, it's a lot. Sometimes I think they overthink it just to keep it simple. And this is coming from someone who's like in the macros of fantasy football and overthinks every start sit question I ever did. But I just think it's crazy.
But I think, too, it's like the Nathaniel Hackett thing where they just become so overwhelmed. It's like going down the rabbit hole. They become so overwhelmed with everything that they're like, they don't see the minutia that everyone else sees. Like, like the fans counting down the clock for Nathaniel Hackett. He's not thinking like that because he's thinking wider. And I think that's what happened with the Jefferson thing. He's thinking, oh my God, Carson Wentz really can't play in primetime. What do I do now? And instead of thinking, why don't I just move Jefferson? He's thinking, what do I do with not Kirk Cousins, not Carson Wentz. What do I do with Kirk Cousins now? So
I think it's so weird that Kirk Cousins does not play well every time. It's like it's every time now. And so and the weirdest part is, like, I always forget that. Like, I always Monday night, I'm like, I'm just like, I'll bet on some overs. And then I'm like, what am I thinking? Like, it makes no sense. Honestly, anytime Carson Wentz plays on primetime, go to DraftKings, go to any sports book, and there'll always be a 0.5 interception over-under. Just bet the over on Kirk Cousins, and you'll win every time. And I forget that, but we'll have a reminder. Let's get started on the show. All right. So first of all, Scott, shout out to Scott. He gets it, man. Obviously, Scott's been a long-time listener. He's been hopping over with us. When we did this on the Fantasy Focus, shout out to Fantasy Focus. We did it on there all last year. They were doing it for years, so shout out to those guys. Buck, Ryan, all those guys. Let's get to 1K so we can get this stuff monetized. Scott gets it, man. Honestly, by week 5, I'm thinking we're going to be rolling in some serious, super chatters. Super chatters get it, man. They're the best. We love you, Scott. Let's get Scott first. Go ahead.
121. This morning's check. We're down to 121.
Yeah. We're getting there. We're inching closer. We're trying our best to, promote this as much as we can. But yeah, subscribe. If you're watching, subscribe. We really do appreciate it. Scott Eminger, 2 QB league, PPR, Jameis Winston, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, or Jimmy Garoppolo. Before we get started, too, I want to make sure everyone knows, make sure you're leaving in the information on the question. So we need to know what's the format, if you have any unique formats, if it's a super flex, anything like that, add that into your question. It makes it a lot easier to give you a thoughtful response. Glass, we're going to kick it down to you first. What do you think?
Well, definitely not Justin Fields because they're simply not throwing the ball at all. It honestly depends on how much you get penalized for interceptions. If the penalty isn't high, I would always go Jameis Winston because he's going to chuck the ball, and he seems to have a relatively healthy receiving core right now, which is really odd. I also would go Russell Wilson. I would go Winston and Wilson just for their ceiling. Garoppolo and Fields aren't throwing the ball that much, although Garoppolo, Denver's D is a little bit injured. Surtain's out. Simmons out.
Surtain is in.
Is he in?
Yeah, he's in. He's going to play, but he's hurt. He's definitely not going to be 100%.
Yeah. So I'm going to go Winston and Russell Wilson for the ceiling. Okay.
Matt?
Yep. For sure, I don't even mention the guy that plays in Chicago. I never will. He's trash. So I go with Winston if there's no interception penalties that are, beyond the regular scoring. And I'm going to go Garoppolo for a couple of reasons. Debo and Ayuk, your analysis, Bobby, that you provided has them rated slot and wide a little bit higher. And Judy being out, I think drops Wilson a little bit for me.
I think Judy is in today.
He's still hurt.
Let's go with the Broncos we saw lose to Seattle. I'll go with Winston and Garoppolo.
Okay. Yeah, you know what the funny thing about Jimmy G last week? He comes in for Trey Lance and he's looking sharp, and I'm just like, oh, okay, Jimmy, this is pretty good. And then you realize that he's going to get you like 16 points in fantasy, which is fine. Right. Which is fine, totally fine. He's going to get you like 225 and 2. And that's great, obviously, for the San Francisco 49ers that run the ball 400 times. But I think from a fantasy standpoint, I think and this is going to be a long answer than it has to be, but I will say that it depends on who I'm playing, too. If I know I'm playing a monster, a team that has Josh Allen and another stud quarterback, and I need more upside, I would lean Winston and Russell Wilson easily in that kind of viewing that format. But if I'm just looking at from how I feel safety-wise, I think Winston, obviously, I'm going to go with anyway. I think the Carolina Panthers are kind of like a paper tiger. They look better than they actually are right now. They face no real notable quarterback just yet. So I'm going to go Winston, and I also will go Russell Wilson. I think Russell figure it out. They're going to figure it out. It's going to take some time. He's on a new team, by the way, and that team also has a new coach. So everything's new to everybody. So Sutton, Judy, all those guys have to learn a new offense. So I think it's going to take some time. But I think Russell Wilson has it decently. Let's jump down to extras. Sorry. That got me confused. I looked like extra. But anyway, start 3, bench 1. So we're going to start 3, bench 1. Saquon, DeAndre Swift, Dalvin Cook, James Robinson. Matt, let's go to you.
I think that as much as I love him, I think out of that list, James Robinson's the guy you got to sit. But it makes me ill to even do that at this point. I start the other 3, Saquon, DeAndre, and Dalvin. I don't know how you can bench any of the 3 until you have an injury with one of the all 3 of those guys seem to get dinged at some point during the year. Saquon worse than the other 2, but I just don't know how you can sit any of those 3 at this point.
Gladys?
Hold please. Who? I have to see who Jacksonville's playing.
The
Chargers. Oh, Chargers are Sev as far as running backs are concerned. I would sit. Damn. You're playing Saquon. You're playing Dalvin Cook because he's going to have a monster day today. It's between Swift and Robinson. You can't really sit Swift. I guess Robinson by default. I mean, yeah. That's really nice 4 that you have there.
I'd love to see his receivers and quarterback too.
I know, right? That's nice.
Extra, put your entire lineup in there so I can DFS off of you.
Yeah, Robinson by default.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. I think Robinson's obviously to sit here, but I think another aspect of this too is send us your whole lineup because this might be an opportunity. If Robinson has another nice week, you can probably trade one of those big three guys and potentially get a stud receiver to help fill another need on the team. So that's something to watch, but obviously I think it's Robinson. You're not sitting those three guys. They're all absolute studs. Official Savage, by the way. Official Savage is one of our longtime guys, too. So we love Official Savage here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Official Savage. Gabe Davis or Devonta Smith? What do you got, Gladys?
Is Davis 100%?
No, not even close.
Yeah, Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith in that game for sure.
Is there an option C?
You don't like Devonta Smith?
Through 2 weeks, not really.
Okay.
But I think that you're right. I think if Gabe Davis is not healthy, too many other mouths to feed in Buffalo, I'll go with Devonta. And I would like to know, Bobby, since you know Official Savage, is there an unofficial Savage? Something?
Yeah, and actually, we don't talk about him, so we need to keep that on the down low. Unofficial Savage is unofficial, we don't even bring him up on the side.
Writing in red. I'm taking a note in red.
Yeah, I think I actually agree with both of you and both of your statements to start off because like Devonta Smith just seems kind of like he's third in the pecking order on a low pass volume offense right now, and I know Jalen Hurts is balling right now, but I'm going to take Smith. Obviously, Gabe Davis. I think his 6 score on Sports Injury Essential is like 42, meaning like he's 42% of his 100% self right now. So I don't know if I'm going to bet on a player like that just yet. So I am going to go Devonta Smith. Extras. Start one, bench one. Joe Flacco or Kirk Cousins? What do you got, Matt?
Now, next, you know who to start here. We start the minivan, right? We start the dad jeans. We start Kirk Cousins all day. Flacco, nope, not going to happen. You never get me to say it. Nope, not going to do it. I saw what he did, not going to happen again. Kirk Cousins all day. And by the way, Jefferson is going to ball out today.
Yeah.
So looking at your really, really, really great Razzball info here, Kirk Cousins I think is the safe bet. I would start, and I am starting in a couple leagues. I would start Joe Flacco against the Bengals because I think that game is going to be a blowout because I think Cincinnati's going to get it right. And I think I read something where New York, the Jets are throwing on like 70% of their plays. They're just pass first, and Flacco has Garrett come up. I'm gonna go Flacco for the upside, for the ceiling.
Oh man, I love it. You know what the craziest part is? Like I deep down feel the same exact way. So because like the Bengals are good, the Jets secondary has not been stopping anybody right now. Right. And you know the Bengals are due for a big game, and that just means a lot of garbage time Joe Flacco. And honestly, we saw in the Bengals game, garbage time turns to like actual value, and next thing you know, it's great for fantasy. So, but I'm going to go Kirk Cousins. I think the Lions game. I mean, the over under in that game is huge. Like Vegas even thinks it's going to be huge. The Lions are dealing with some injuries on the defensive side of the football. And I agree with Matt in the sense that Justin Jefferson is going to ball out today. I think they're going to make up for that Darius Slay debacle and say, oh, maybe we should move him away from the best players. So I do think Justin Jefferson does have a big day.
The over-under is 53 in that game.
I know, it's huge. So, when I was looking at it, too, I have Kirk Cousins in a league, too, and I'm starting him. I felt oddly good about it. And plus, he's not playing on primetime, so we're good to go. So everything's going to be fine today. So it's totally fine. All right, shoved down to another one. He's got the Smith 2, and he's been sitting. I don't know what that means. Which Smith? Smith, I don't know what that was. All right, Colton. Happy individual son, Colton Putnam. How you doing, man? He is everywhere. Everyone, good morning. He's one of our guys that have been on the last couple of weeks. Appreciate you, Colton, for jumping on. He's got Colton. His first question of the day. Colton, it's Mahomes or Stafford today. This is another one. Let's go down to you, Glass. What are you thinking?
Oh, I remember Colton from last week. He has tremendous choices all the time. I don't know how you sit Patty Mahomes, especially indoors. They're playing in Indiana in Indianapolis, inside, fast track, Travis Kelce, MVS all day. And you're going to have less chance of interception points taken away with Mahomes, I think. I'm going Mahomes inside on a fast track.
Matt?
Yep, same with me, and sprinkle in a little CEH for PPR as well for Mahomes. Yep.
That's not even in the question. What are we doing? Sprinkling CEH. No, I agree.
Drafted him a lot. And
you're giving yourself confidence in your own line. I like that. Hey, you know what? This is our show. We can do whatever we want. So it's totally fine.
I don't need you bringing my CEH excitement level down.
I have a bunch of CEH, so I'm all in. I'm all in on the extra dabble.
I've been bragging to people who don't even know what football is, much less fantasy football. I'm like, I got CEH late. They're like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like I brag to my dog. I'm like, hey, by the way, I got CEH in the 7th round. It's a dog, Bob. What are you talking
Senior
about?
Sonny, he's like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, just throw the ball.
Yeah, go follow Senior Sonny on Instagram as well. It's my dog's account. It's fantastic. I'm going to go Mahomes as well. I think this one, don't overthink it. I think the Colts will get right on offense with Pittman back and Alex Pierce, so it'll be a nice scoring affair in that one. Jason Chong, half PPR flex, Tony Pollard, Juju Smith-Schuster, or Chris Olave. Let's go down to you, Gladys. What do you got?
If he just needs one, I'm going to go Tony Pollard. I'm going to go Tony Pollard because they're using him as a wide receiver. Rush is throwing to him what he had on. I'm looking at the Razzball. Oh, yeah. You go do Tony Pollard. Juju Smith, you want him to get right. We're just not sure that he's going to get right. And Chris Olave is getting his feet wet, but Michael Thomas still owns that offense. So I'm going to go Tony Pollard.
Matt?
Yeah, I don't love it. I don't think Gladys loves it either. Of the three, I'd probably go Pollard. I want to see a little bit more out of Olave, right? Maybe if he can own some more receptions. And Michael Thomas is either going to get dinged or he's going to get attitude. One of the two can happen soon. So I like the same order that Gladys gave. Pollard followed by Olave, followed by Juju, and Juju's probably way, way, way down the list.
Yeah. I always struggle with like Pollards and the Hunts of the world because you can never justify them that much because of their usage, right? They get, that 10 carries maybe. And you're waiting for like that explosive play to happen. And remember, he's playing with Cooper Rush. So it's like, really exactly. So it's like am I really going to go all in on Tony Pollard with Cooper Rush? But at the same time, I kind of agree. I think Juju has been oddly underwhelming the first 2 weeks. He's been fine in PPR formats, but he hasn't really stood out yet. Chris Olave, I agree with. You don't even know yet. Honestly, the New Orleans Saints, I feel like it's just a carousel. First, it was Jarvis Landry. Then Thomas catches 2 touchdowns. Last week, it was Chris Olave. So I do think Pollard will be – I think they need him. I think they have to utilize him because Michael Gallup's banged up, too many injuries in the receiving core. So I'm actually going to go with Pollard as well. Colton's got another one here, standard PPR in both leagues. So it's a PPR league. So that I guess I think I'm okay with Pollard too. You guys agree with full PPR?
Yep, I'd leave him. I'd leave this
one. Right. Brian's got a question for us. Tua versus the Bills or Burrow versus the Jets? Let's go to you, Matt, first.
Burrow. I think Joe gets right. Gladys said it a couple minutes ago. This is a get-right game for the Bengals and for Burrow. He's not listed in here, and I know Bobby will get mad if I say it because he's not in the question. It's Joe Mixon season in week 3. So, yeah. All right. But again, I think who can the Jets stop, right? From a Giants fan up in the upper quadrant, or it would be a quadrant if there was 4, Matt, so figure that out. Bobby's a Giants fan. We can't pick Jets here, right? He's the boss, so it's Burrow for me.
First of all, you can pick whoever you want. Obviously, Matt, on air, I have to pretend like I'm nice, but behind the scenes, I will yell at you if you pick the Jets. Gladys, go ahead.
I think it's Burrow. I've got a lot of shares of Burrow. I just think Tua's not going to go 460 in 6 again. And if he does, I guess I'll streak the neighborhood on camera. But I
love it.
Whoa.
I love it.
Whoa.
Remember, we are live, and everything you just said is now on record. I have not taken this video down for no reason, and I just want to let you know now that
I mentioned Kirk Cousins being the dad pants. So whatever dad bod is, whatever's like 2 levels below that, that's where I am. So I wouldn't tune in for that, except for
I can tell you right now, if our viewership goes up after you're streaking every weekend. So that's on you now. Go ahead, Gladys. What do you got?
Just really quick, I want to go back to the last question. On the site that you did, Pollard. He is averaging 9.1 half PPR points per game. And the only reason I know that is because Bobby has like all the information right here. So I would definitely go Pollard. On this one, I wouldn't chase the points with Tua. I wouldn't play any quarterback. I wouldn't play anyone against the Bills. That's not true. I did. Burrow versus Jets. I think Burrow is going to figure it out. Going to stop reading his own press and get his ass together. So Burrow.
So I actually am going to disagree with the team here, and I'm going to go Tua, and I'm going to talk. It's going to be a great segue because there's a lot of injuries. The Bills are going to be starting 4 different players in the secondary today. Both safeties and both their top corners are out. Tre'Davious White, of course, and then Jackson on the other side, and they also are missing both Hyde and Jordan Poyer in the secondary. So I think the Bills are going to light up. They're going to do their thing. We know the Bills are going to do their thing. And if knowing that you have Tyreek Hill and Waddle get you a bunch of backup in the back end, I'm just going to take the potential upside. The Jets, that game could be like 21-17 easily for Burrow. And like you said, if Joe Mixon beats him up on the ground, I don't know if Burrow's going to need to do that much. Now, every time we deny Joe Flacco his due, he comes back and bites us. So I do agree there is upside there. But I actually think that Tua has a shot to have a big day against the backups for Buffalo. And that's going to transition me really quick. You two can take a quick 60-second break. I'm actually going to run through our injury report that we have for week 3. So notable injuries for week 3 that I think a lot of people will need to talk about. And this is a perfect transition. The Bills as a whole on defense are down 6 players. This is a lot. Their 6 score, which is Sports Injury Central. If you don't know what that is, go check it out. It's a great website that helps you look at field views and how many players are injured, how healthy they are. So even if a player plays, you might be able to see if they're 75%, 85%. Definitely recommend. It helps us a lot on our team, on our analysis here. But a 6 score of 63 on defense is insane. Most teams are in the high 80s, low 90s. So I do think that the Dolphins offense players are in your – I have 2 in my DFS in one of them, so I think it's definitely worth a shot there. Michael Pittman and Alex Pierce are both back after being out last week. That should really help that Colts-Chiefs game kind of boost up that ceiling for everybody, and I do think there's a nice bounce back for the Colts, including JT as well. Shaq Leonard, stud middle linebacker, still out for the Colts. You know, shout out to Matt and CEH right there. Listen, CEH is going to have a nice day without their stud middle linebacker. Hunter Renfrow is out today. I do think that just kind of funnels more targets to Darren Waller and Devontae Adams, so I do like them both in DFS as well if you can get them in your lineups. Middle linebacker for the Raiders, Denzel Perriman, a pretty solid stud there. I actually think that there's some shot here that Derrick Henry has a nice bounce back week against the Raiders. Slot cornerback, Ugo. What's up with the names? I can't even get it right. Ugo Amide. He's a slot cornerback for the Tennessee Titans. Now, Devontae Adams plays about 40% of his snaps. He gets about 40% or so of his targets in the slot, so that's good news for him. I think that Devontae Adams really does have a really nice day. Ronnie Stanley, of course, Jawan James, both left tackles are out for the Ravens. It doesn't really matter for Lamar, I think, because of his mobility, so I think he'll be fine there. Brevin Jordan, who's the tight end for the Texans, is out today. I think that kind of helps out a little bit to maybe guys like Nico Collins, Brandon Cooks, get a couple more targets as Brevin Jordan is the primary tight end in that offense for the passing game. If you're looking for a DFS dart, though, maybe a Pharaoh Brown. Throw it out there for you if you're looking for a really cheap option at tight end. Jacoby Myers was a surprising out today. It sounds like based on Adam Schefter's report this morning, this is kind of big news. The Ravens secondary is very, very banged up still. We just saw what the 2 of them did last week to the Ravens, and now they get the Patriots. I do think there's some value here, especially in deeper formats. I think guys like Nelson Aguilar are in play this week, and also Kendrick Bourne, who, by the way, has a 2.4 yards per route run, which is elite this season. Even though he has not played a lot, he'll probably pick up the slot snaps there. If you're looking for some cheap options in DFS, go Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar. Bears defense is pretty banged up this week up front, so I do think that the Houston Texans, one of my favorite DFS plays and plays of the week is Dameon Pierce. I think he's starting to see more usage. If you go to the Razzball Fantasy Player Usage tab, you'll see that Dameon Pierce is on the rise, so I do like his matchup this week. J.C. Jackson, stud cornerback for the Chargers, is out today, so I do think that is good news for that. Sorry, let me just pause for a second. I'm just going to pause for one quick second here. I want to make sure I have the matchups up too while I'm talking through this because That's what I should have. Jacksonville. Sorry. So that's good news for Marvin Jones and Zay Jones on the outside mostly. And, of course, Christian Kirk will get a lot of work in the slot, but he does see a lot on the outside. Sammy Watkins is on IR officially for a couple weeks. Look for Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson to get more playing time back in this offense, and we'll see how that works out. But I do like to take a speculative ad on one of those guys just to see what happens with Sammy Watkins out for a couple weeks. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans are out today. Now, the weather report says that there might be some rain in the Tampa Bay Packers game. We'll have to continue to monitor that. Of course, that's a late window start. If you are starting one of those guys like a Perriman, for example, or a Russell Gage, you might want to have another guy in the late window just in case because of that rain. And most of those guys are not elite players as well. But I'm taking a DFS dart throw on Brashad Perriman this week. Left tackle for the Tampa Bay Bucks, Donovan Smith is out today. You know, Brady's dealing with a lot of the elements. I'm actually not playing Brady this week. I sat him last week. We talked about that a lot. I think we should fade him again. Says George Kittle is out. That is not right at all. He's actually in today. George Kittle is back, so I will make sure to update that. But he is back today, should be starting. I think Jimmy G being back, I think there's a buy low window on Kittle. With Jimmy G now the starter again, that's his guy. I think there's a lot of room for George Kittle to bounce back. Akeem Hicks, stud defensive tackle for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is out. I think this is good news for Aaron Jones and also A.J. Dillon. If there is any type of elements with the rain, look for the Packers and the Bucs to try to lean on the run, and I think that's good news for Aaron Jones. Paulson Adebo is a outside cornerback for the New Orleans Saints, and that's, you know, he's actually their starter, so that's good news opposite of Marshawn Lattimore. So if you have Robbie Anderson or DJ Moore, you could downgrade their matchup just a little bit. David Long, cornerback for the Rams on the outside, is out today. One of my favorite starts of the week is Marquis Brown against those Rams. You know the Rams are going to have a nice day against that banged-up Arizona defense, so I do think that David Long being out, another outside quarterback, opens things up for Marquis Brown. Rondale Moore out again. That's another little bump and feather in the cap for Marquise Brown, but also Greg Dortch will be playing a lot in the slot. So something there notable in PPR leagues. Tyron Davis-Price is out today. That's Jeff Wilson is going to be the guy. So I think Jeff Wilson, I think Trey Mason is another guy you can monitor as a late, you know, maybe you pick him up and stash him to see if he's like the new Elijah Mitchell. But I think Jeff Wilson has a nice day. Is a solid RB2/flex if needed. There it is. George Kittle in. I don't know why George Kittle's twice in. We make mistakes. We're just human, folks. It is what it is. Cowboys are down multiple offensive linemen. They're out again. And, of course, they're playing the Giants, so I'm not overly concerned. But we talked a little bit about Tony Pollard and the injuries to the receiving core. Maybe Pollard gets more action in the receiving game if they struggle to run the ball on the ground. Michael Gallup should be back in on Monday nights. Brandon Bolden should be out again. We also have Aaron Robinson and Wan'Dale Robinson-Kadarius on Monday Night Football, folks. Aaron Robinson's an outside receiver. That's outside cornerback, I mean. So that's going to be good news for CeeDee Lamb. Wan'Dale Robinson, Kadarius Toney are out. One of my favorite dart throws this week and a guy that I like to start is Sterling Shepard. Let's jump back into it, Matt. Got some questions rolling in here. I got to make sure where I left off. Oh, we got quick kicker questions. I love every second of that. Drake London or Tyler Lockett from Pirates Are My Friends. Pirates Are My Friends. Listen, Pirates Are My Friends. I'm hoping that we become your friends. So you could say Pirates Are My Friends and Razzball Fantasy. So that's my hope that next time we see you, that's your name. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going with Tyler Lockett. We talked about it right at the opening. I think that Drake London showed out last week. I think he looked really, really good. I think based on the statistics that you have out there, Bobby, the free analysis for the slot and wide, Lockett looks good on both fronts, and so I'm going to go with Lockett as I think they may be trailing a little bit.
Gladys?
I think they throw a little bit more.
I actually like Drake London in this matchup. I think that against Seattle, AJ Terrell is, I think, going to be shadowing Lockett more than Metcalf. So I actually like Metcalf better. But I like Drake London. I think that his usage is up, his snaps are up, his targets are up. Kyle Pitts is suffering for it, and until they can prove that they can throw to Pitts, London's all they got.
Yeah, so one of the things that's unique about the Seattle Seahawks secondary is they're one of the toughest matchups for perimeter receivers, and so far in 2022, that's reflected in our slot versus wide analysis. And Matt just brought up too, Tyler Lockett has a great – I mean, the Atlanta Falcons have been a doormat this year for receivers, so I think that Tyler Lockett is my pick here as well. Colton coming back again with some more questions. Not only does he stay for the other people's questions, but he just keeps filling them in, and that's why we love you, Colton. Keep coming, baby. We love every second. 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. We need 5 here. We're starting the lineup today, folks. Matt, we're going to kick it over to you first. Aaron Jones, Javonte Williams, Daryl Henderson, Cooper Kupp, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Brandon Cooks. So what do you got?
Did we joke about this in week 1 that Colton must be in a 16 league?
Could be possible.
Some of the lineups, or his drafts just fall into his lap. For me, this is very, very, very easy. Daryl Williams is the odd man
now. Daryl Henderson.
I said Daryl Williams, and I am incorrect. Daryl Henderson. Aaron Jones and Javonte. I think Javonte starts to see it move in his favor. Melvin Gordon's going to get a little bit of luck still because he's proven he can do what he needs to do at the NFL level. But they need to turn it over to Javonte. And then I don't think you can sit Kupp ever, and I don't think you can sit Amon-Ra St. Brown at this point. So if the coin flip is Cooks or Daryl Henderson, it's not a coin flip for me. Brevin Jordan out. Dameon Pierce still trying to get his feet wet in the NFL, so it's Brandon Cooks for me over Henderson in the flex.
Gladys?
Wide receivers, Kupp, Brown, St. Brown. Running backs, Aaron Jones, Javonte Williams, flex, Cooks.
She's so smart.
Yeah, you need to sit. Actually, you need to sit another player, Matt. You're sitting Daryl Henderson, right? But you also need to sit one of the.
No, he's got a flex. 2 wide.
Oh,
2
yeah, you're right.
So I get to sneak Brandon Cooks in.
All right, you're right. My bad.
Actually, if I have to have one more sit, it's Daryl Williams.
Okay, so it's all right. Just so quick question. So Daryl, I'm sitting Daryl Henderson too here. I think last week we saw the flip to Cam Akers just a little bit. And I think they actually do want Cam Akers to be the guy. I think that's what their hope is. And Cam Akers is maybe not ready from the Achilles, but I do think that until we see that backfield for multiple weeks in a row, like actually be legit, and when one of those guys be legit, when you have these kind of options, I'd rather take the safer options. And they're not even safe. They're studs. Calling them safe is embarrassing. They are studs. You got studs to play. So play your studs and you'll be perfectly fine. Just want to give everyone a quick update too. We answer these questions in order. So submitting them multiple times, we're going to get there. We do apologize. It takes a couple minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. But I do want to bring up the fact that this podcast, we actually are partnering with a company and organization called Good Sports. So Good Sports is basically a youth it's an organization that helps provide underprivileged communities sporting equipment for kids to play sports. So 10% of any donation that goes on this show, you guys, we kick 10% over to that organization. So we are partnering with them all year as well. I bring this up too. So if you want to skip the line, if you're in a rush and you don't have the time to sit and watch the show, we totally understand. We want to give you a vehicle to skip the line if you want to. So you can actually use the QR code on your screen. That's our PayPal account. You can throw us a donation. We really do appreciate it. We'll get to those questions first. And once we monetize, we'll talk through all that too. You'll have a super chat function. We're really excited about that as well. So if you are in a rush, we do have an option for you to kind of skip that line. And we'll leave this up here. You can actually use a map covering your face, and you're too handsome to cover up your face. So we will periodically just put that up. Jumping back over to the actual comments here. Let's go. Sorry. Of course, it moves my spot here. There we go. All right. There it is. Between age, O-line woes, and wide receiver injuries, Brady an automatic sit right now. Let's go to Gladys. What do you think?
Yes.
Matt?
First things first. Derek is a writer on our baseball side. I split a couple of fantasy football teams with him. Derek's going through a kind of a rough time right now. He lost a member of his family. So I just want to give my condolences and my love out to Derek and tell him, as much as I love the Green Bay Packers this weekend, I think that Brady is a start versus Green Bay, but you got to keep an eye on the weather. But otherwise, I think there's too many other options out there and now might be the time to consider Brady sitting down.
Yeah, he's an auto sit for me. I agree with Gladys. Simple answer is yes. So I actually am not going to touch Brady. Brady will figure out a way to win a game, but does not mean it helps me and my fantasy football team. So I am not interested in playing Brady this week. We've got a kicker question, folks. And obviously, if you know, I am a whack job when it comes to kickers. I have an analysis, and I am oddly proud of it. So I don't care what anybody thinks. So let's do a quick kicker question. Gladys, I'll kick it down to you first. You see, Gladys seems she's more engaged with kickers. I like this. Let's do it. Austin Seibert, Ryan Suckup, Greg Joseph, Matt Prater, Cairo Santos, or Mason Crosby. Any kickers stand out to you, Gladys?
Well, I'm not going Crosby because he's outside in potentially bad weather.
Yep.
Santos. I'm going Santos. Or Prater. I like Prater. I mean, that game's going to be high scoring. They're playing in Arizona, right? No. Hold on. I got it. It's here, right here. Yeah, it's in Arizona. I'm going Prater. I think they're going to need him a lot.
Matt?
I like Joseph over Prater, but it's close. Both indoors. Give me the Vikings putting up a lot of points.
You know, it's funny. My kicker analysis is Ryan Suckup is number 2 in it, but unfortunately, because of the weather, I agree that I'm probably not overly excited about that. Here's one for you. Matt Amendola, if you have a shot to get him, he's actually replacing Harrison Butker as the Chiefs kicker. And I guarantee you he's probably available on waivers. No one's going to take him, but he's the Chiefs kicker. And you know he's going to get 2 field goals and 4 extra points minimum with that offense. So if you have a shot at him, I would grab him as well. Former Cairo Santos beat Kansas City Chief, by the way. That's a fun fact for you. But I think I'm actually good with out of this list. I'm going to go Matt Prater too. Why not? I like it. I like the call there as well. Let's jump down to defenses for Colton.
And
I like it. First of all,
Bobby, you get to answer this one. You already know our answer. We talked about it before the show. Hit us with your analysis for this. There's only one team here, right? Give it to Colton.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit earlier, and Gladys, I don't know if you were on. I don't know if it was pre-show, whatever. But we're talking a little bit about the Eagles, Washington football team. The Eagles are one of our favorite starts this week because of the fact that, listen, Carson Wentz is like a fantasy dynamo for both teams. Like, he's great for his own players because he's throwing interceptions, which leads to more pass volume. But I think the Eagles pass rush, we know the Commanders are a little banged up on the front side. Carson Wentz has a propensity to turn the ball over. And now we have the narrative. Maybe the locker room's going to say, Jalen, we got you, bro. We're going to get Carson Wentz this week. So I'm personally taking the Eagles. What about you guys? What's your thoughts?
I like the Eagles. I like the narrative. I think the game's going to be high scoring, so you're going to be docked points for that. Even though Carson Wentz is going to throw like 2 or 3 interceptions, he's also going to throw 2 or 3 touchdowns, and Curtis Samuel's going to ball. So I actually like the Texans against the Bears. Low scoring game. Yeah, but Eagles would be my 1A choice.
I like it. We'll take 1A all day. And Matt, I think you agree, right?
Yeah, I like the Eagles, and then I think sneakily I like the Jags.
Jags, okay.
But I would never.
The Jags are playing the Chargers because of the injury to Herbert.
Well, and Keenan Allen and Eckler hasn't been Eckler.
Is Herbert out?
Not okay. He's not out, but they haven't committed to him playing, so that is something to watch. Well, we'll right around 8:30 a.m. if they're at the 1 o'clock window, we'll update some injuries.
I read something where the Jags are the top defense in DFS right now. Everyone is choosing the Jags. They're above like 18%.
So then, if that's considered chalk, if 18% is chalk, then I would look elsewhere, right? I like the Texans because they're playing the trash team from Chicago. So yeah, I'm with Gladys on this one. Give me anybody ever playing against trash Chicago.
Got it.
Wow.
All right. Cole,
I'm not sure I said that.
No, I said it for sure.
Okay.
Colton's helping pay the bills. Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers? Let's go with you, Matt. Who do you got?
You know, I love my quarterback, right, Aaron Rodgers. But in the weather and the fact that I think they're going to run more than they're going to have to throw, I'm on record as saying Cousins and Goff are going to go back and forth all day. I think that I have to take Cousins in this one, but it pains me to say that.
Gladys?
Kirk Cousins. He's comeback game. Justin Jefferson. He's got more weapons than Aaron Rodgers, first of all. He does not relegate to throwing just to the two running backs. He's got Justin Jefferson, he's got Adam Thielen, he's got Irv Smith, and he's got Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins against Detroit, who have just been so very generous to opposing quarterbacks.
I'm going to go Kirk Cousins as well. I just, I don't know. There's something weird about this Packers-Bucks game. Who knows? It's with the injuries, I'm not sure. I'm okay with being wrong based on injury analysis if that's okay with everybody. Kale Sports, what's going on, man? Would you trade got a little trade question. I like it. Mixing it up on Sunday Live. This is good stuff. A-Rob for Pierce. I'd be getting Pierce, and I'm assuming that's Damian Pierce. PPR, my wide receivers are A.J. Brown, Michael Thomas, Christian Kirk, Allen Robinson, and Mooney. My running backs are Dalvin Cook, Kamara, A.J. Dillon, and Ramondre Stevenson. So based on his depth, do you think he needs a running back like Pierce, and he can afford to lose Allen Robinson? Let's kick it over to you, Matt, first.
If I'm going to make that trade, I'd probably try to force Mooney right now over A-Rob. But I wrote in my waiver wire article, don't panic, right? Don't do anything dumb. I don't think that Kale Sport needs to make a trade. I would rather just stand pat with the roster and hope Mooney comes back. Comes back and performs. Not comes back. He's not injured, but just comes back and performs.
Gotcha.
I don't make the trade only because his team is good.
Gladys?
I'm kind of the opposite. Because his team is good, I would make the trade. I think losing A-Rob isn't going to hurt him with A.J. Brown and Michael Thomas and Christian Kirk. And then he gets Pierce, who is going to be, if not already, the running back. And Ramondre Stevenson, you can't depend on. A.J. Dillon's good. Kamara injured. I would make the trade.
So this hurts my feelings because my player trends, both these guys are on the rise. So I'm emotionally just upset about talking about this. I think Robinson to me is like a guy who's going to only get better. I mean, I think a lot of people don't realize when you change teams, it's going to take time. Like, first of all, Matthew Stafford was not throwing much this offseason. So like Aaron Robinson was not practicing with Stafford as much as he should have been because Stafford was dealing with the elbow. I think that connection is going to only build. And we saw with Robert Woods last year. It took some time, but over the last 4 or 5 weeks that he was on fire before he got hurt, and then Odell took off. So I don't want to give up on Robinson necessarily, but Dameon Pierce is a trending player. This guy is going to Rex Burkhead. Week 1, we're all like Rex Burkhead, baby. He's gonna ruin our Dameon Pierce takes. And then week 2, we saw the trends go back to Pierce. So I honestly, in my opinion, I don't think. I would take Pierce. I personally would. I always favor the running backs. You know, they 210. I mean, Kamara's already dealing with injuries. Cook has dealt with injuries in the past. A.J. Dillon is technically in a 50-50 timeshare with Ramondre Stevenson. So I actually do like Gladys' take here. Going to lean there as well. Colton, we already answered this one.
No.
This is a little different. So we have for a second lead, Colton. I like this. We have Randy Bullock, Robbie Gould, Brett Maher, Justin Tucker, Will Lutz, or Mason Crosby. Let's go to you, Matt, first.
It's always Justin Tucker.
Gladys?
I concur.
Yeah, I think Justin Tucker is one of the auto-star kickers that you don't have to worry about there. Official Savage, I got Anderson, but not feeling him in my lineup. Are you talking about Robbie Anderson, Official Savage? If you are, I don't think I feel him either. With the New Orleans Saints, I know that they're getting one of their quarterbacks back. Marshawn Lattimore hasn't shadowed DJ Moore in the past, but that should be a tougher matchup on the outside. Any thoughts about Gladys on Robbie Anderson this week?
No, I have actually no thoughts on Robbie Anderson this week. He would be on my bench, like way down. With Baker Mayfield's not showing that he has any love for basically anyone he can throw the ball to. So, yeah, no thoughts on Robbie.
Matt?
No, I'm the same. I think he had a Sammy Watkins week 1, and then he turned back into Robbie Anderson. So, yeah, I'm not playing Robbie. I'm not rostering Robbie Anderson, much less playing him.
I think it depends on the format. I actually in a deeper bench league have Robbie Anderson because he's getting that elite usage. I mean, he's running a bunch of routes. We'll see. I mean, like I said before, new offense with Ben McAdoo, new quarterback with Baker Mayfield, expecting these guys to hit the ground running. Not everybody has the Cooper Kupp breakfast relationship with Matthew Stafford, apparently. So
where did McAdoo coach before Carolina?
Yeah, Giants. All right. Listen, man, he was an awesome offensive coordinator, a freaking terrible head coach. I mean, this guy was
wanted it on record. I wanted it on record.
Eli, man, all right, listen, don't you start with me this morning. I mean, it's not even 8 a.m. here, and I'm already upset with you.
Well, it's almost 10 for me.
No, Matthew. I mean, Eli Manning had some really good years with Ben McAdoo. I actually do think as long as the only problem I think is Matt Rule's done. If they go 0-3 today, he's going to be done by midseason. And then there's going to be a new offense in there next year. This is kind of why DJ Moore for Dynasty was a little hazy for me, getting way off topic here. But at the same time, this is from my thought is that this offense with new Baker, Ben McAdoo, and a hot seat head coach, there could be a brand new scheme in next year. And that's a whole other, debacle. But anyway, I digress. All right, Colton got another one here. For his second league, he's got another defensive question. Texans, Seahawks, Saints, Bears, Jags, and Panthers. Let's go with you, Gladys, first.
I'm sticking with the Texans still in that lineup. Although I think the Bears would be a close second. But I'm sticking with the Texans.
Matt?
Yeah, I like the Texans as well against Chicago and maybe sneak the Jags in. If it's not DFS, right, if that's not a chalky play and you're just streaming the Jags based on news that you hear about Justin Herbert. But for me, it's still the Texans because Gladys told me on them.
I will say this is a good one where Justin Herbert, there's still a lot of rumblings that he might not play, right? So if Herbert's out, I think the Jags are a very sneaky play. So I think if Herbert's out, I'm going to go Jacksonville. If he's in, I'm probably not going to risk it, and I'll probably go Texans. I'm okay with that with the Bears.
How efficient do we think Herbert's going to be, even if he's in, if he has broken rib cartilage or some crazy thing like that? You're throwing? I mean,
Pro Football Doc talks about this all the time. What they'll do is they'll give him an injection in his ribs, and essentially it'll be a block, and he won't feel it. So it won't be as bad. The problem is when you have broken ribs, if he takes another bad hit, you can really seriously hurt yourself. You can either fracture more bone, it could get punctured to something. Like if it's already fractured, it could puncture a lung, you're screwed. Then he's out for multiple weeks. So I think it's more of the staff, that the doctors and the head coaches trying to weigh the risk. I think he could play, but they think if he gets hit again in the middle of his stomach, we could lose this guy for a month or so because he's dealing with a serious injury. So I think that's what it has to do with. Isn't this
the same staff that gave Tyrod Taylor the puncture so he could play?
Yeah.
So
you're right. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's ironic. Imagine that, huh?
Yeah.
So that's a callback. I think they call that in the industry a callback. That's good stuff. I like that. That's good. Extras. Hey, man. I had Joe from waivers and dropped Carr only because he leads yards in the league. So basically, he picked up Joe Burrow, dropped, which is interesting. I mean, the fact that Joe Burrow is on. Oh, Joe Flacco. Sorry.
Okay.
Right. Joe Flacco. He dropped Derek Carr. I personally would not have done that. Flacco's only going to be the starter maybe another week or two. I think at some point they go back to Zach Wilson. I don't see the Jets going on a hot streak necessarily. So I think I would have stayed with Derek Carr. Any thoughts on that, Matt?
I'm with you as well. And I already gave you my Flacco hate, even though it's not really hate. I think Joe Flacco is what Joe Flacco's always been, in immobile, deep passing quarterback. So I would have stuck with David Carr for sure, especially with Devontae Adams and Waller. Strange thing out of Las Vegas, though, is Josh Jacobs didn't get on the airplane.
He's there. He went the next day. Yeah. So Josh Jacobs, I didn't have him on my injury report. We will see. Still a game time decision, but he did take a flight the next day. He's dealing with an illness. It does sound like he'll be out there though.
No doubt, Mark Davis flew him coach.
Here you go. That's perfect. Anyway, Gladys, any thoughts about Carr versus Joe Flacco this week?
I would have kept Carr. Flacco. I mean, he might stay the quarterback if he gets on a winning streak, but Carr has. You don't know. I would stick with Carr.
Okay. Let's jump down to Mad Have Kapoor. I like that. Start 2, half PPR, Elijah Moore, Aguilar, and Hardman. I would like to add that Jacoby Myers is out today, so that could open up a few more targets for those Patriots receivers. Let's go over to you, Matt. What do you think?
It never Nicole Hardman season for me. I've drafted him. I've watched him do nothing, and then he has his 27-point outburst on your bench. Then you start him, and he goes back to his one target for 1 catch and 3 yards. So I like Elijah Moore. I think the Jets are getting a little bit better. And Aguilar, even though he's in his 47th NFL season, I'll take him with the Myers injury.
Gladys?
I would go Elijah Moore and Nicole Hardman if he's 100%, because he's their deep guy. And again, they're playing indoors. Mahomes is going to air it out. Patriots only throw like 33 times a game, and I just don't see the volume being there for Aguilar and a half PPR.
And I'm not going to be helpful at all. I'm actually going to go Aguilar and Hardman. My rationale is that Aguilar, the Ravens secondary is really banged up, and I think with the Jacoby Myers injury, I think that Kendrick Bourne is another deep sleeper if you need a DFS play. But Aguilar has been surprisingly efficient, and we saw the breakdown in the deep ball. Right, Tyreek Hill just broke loose last week. I think there might be one for Aguilar. Elijah Moore is facing the Bengals defense that has allowed the least amount of fantasy points out wide this season so far. So I think that I'm more of a Garrett Wilson guy myself right now. I'd rather play Garrett Wilson. And I'm not sure if Joe Flacco is going to be slinging it that much more than, to support a bunch of guys. So, and Hardman, Matt's probably right. He's probably going to get me like 7 points instead of 22. But I want to I think the Kansas City Chiefs Colts game might be interesting in that one. All right.
I'll take the under on that 7.
Yeah, injury report for James Conner, Leonard Fournette, Gabriel Davis, Dalton Schultz, and Jacoby Myers. The only player not playing amongst that list, Colton, is Jacoby Myers. But a lot of these guys are injured. They're hampered. Like, remember, James Conner dealing with an ankle, Leonard Fournette dealing with a hamstring, Gabriel Davis is dealing with an injury. He's about 40%. Honestly, I'm not trying to play injured players as much as I can. I would try if you have good alternatives. I don't think any of these guys necessarily are must-starts. Obviously, Leonard Fournette and James Conner are harder to get away from because you drafted them probably in the second and third rounds. But for example, I'd rather start Miles Sanders and Dameon Pierce over those two guys this week, in my opinion. Any thoughts about these injured players, guys? Let's go to you, Gladys, first. Do you have any thoughts about any of these guys you fading, or are you okay starting any of these guys?
The only one I would possibly start is Fournette, and that's because I think he's going to get the lion's share of the touches in that, especially if it's a wet game, if it's a really messy game, if it's raining really bad there. The other ones, I wouldn't start Davis. I wouldn't start anyone. I agree with not starting players with injuries if you can help it. But Fournette is playing with the same injury he played with last week. So it didn't really hamper his production. So I would start Fournette, but I wouldn't start Conner with a bad ankle. I wouldn't start Davis. Dalton Schultz, no. Jacoby Myers is out, so it's not a question.
Matt?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, and I think the sneaky waiver move would be Eno Benjamin. If you've got room to stash him, especially if Conner trends towards not playing a lot, Eno Benjamin is a pass catcher. I think that he's got an opportunity to put up significant points in that game today.
Okay. Yeah, I know Daryl Williams got most of the touches, but I think they wanted Eno Benjamin to be the guy. So I think if I'm stashing players, maybe Eno's a better stash. But if you need a play, I would probably favor Daryl Williams. But I don't think I'm playing anybody. James Conner's going to play. So you're playing James Conner over any Arizona. So maybe if you're stashing a Arizona back, maybe Eno is the better stash. All right, let's jump down to Rory McDuff. Start one, Allen Robinson, Brandon Ayuk, or Treylon Burks. Gladys, let's go back down to you for this one.
I'm assuming it's a PPR or at least a half PPR because very few people play standard now. But I would start Brandon Ayuk in that one because although it's a Monday night game, with Jimmy G, Ayuk's value has risen just a little. Allen Robinson, I think, would be 1A because I really do think that Allen Robinson is going to start getting more of a time share, more of a target share than he has gotten, and that game might be a blowout, but I think Brandon Ayuk is the safer start. Treylon Burks he's Ryan Tannehill's not. No, Treylon Burks, no.
All right. Matt?
I'm going to just go, I'll put Ayuk as my 1A. I probably start A-Rob, but for Gladys and I both, it's probably very close to a coin flip. But I don't think you can go wrong with either one if you make the decision. For me, if I've got to pick one, it's probably A-Rob.
Yeah, I'm going to go Allen Robinson. I want a piece of that Rams-Cardinals game, absolutely. Official Savage, my Lions disrespect is sad. I mean, What we don't even know. I mean, we're disrespecting the Lions because you guys are just a little banged up. I think the Lions game is going to be fun. We love you, Savage, and we love the Detroit Lions. Listen, they've been fun for fantasy. I mean, honestly, we love Swift. Monroe St. Brown is a my sweet angel boy. I have him on so many leagues. Love every second of him, so I'm into that. All right, 6 point. Jaio Marquez Carmona. Man, I gotta do a name announcement. I gotta get a trainer. I'm gonna have to hire a coach, teach me how to say names properly. But anyway, 6 points per passing touchdown league. Brady or Mariota? Let's kick it over to you, Matt. What's your thoughts?
I appreciate you coming to me first for a question that has absolutely. Oh my! I mean, what do you do here, right? It's 100 times out of 100 Brady. If it wasn't the slop, if Brady wasn't without receivers, if his O-line wasn't banged up, we already talked about him being a must-sit. We already talked about Drake London. Kyle Pitts needs to get going. I don't know if I can start Mariota over Brady, but give me Brady.
Ugh. Wow. Gladys, the pain in your voice, I love every second of it. This is what it's all about. Go ahead, Gladys.
I'm starting Mariota over Brady. I think if the touchdowns come in that game, they're going to come from Fournette in the run game. And if the touchdowns come in this game against Seattle, they're going to come from either Drake London or hopefully Kyle Pitts, or Cordell Patterson catching the ball. I'm going Mariota for the 6 point touchdowns.
Now, Gladys, I love you to death, and I just want to let you know we can hear every click of that pen. So.
Oh, sorry.
I love it. It's like you're thinking. We know. We get it. We love it. Appreciate it. I do appreciate it. First thing in the morning. Yeah, I'm actually going to go Mariota too. I mean, Seattle is not an imposing defense per se, but I'm not going to start. I said this last week with Brady. I'm just not interested right now without Evans and Godwin. I loved Brady because of the talent around him. Julio's banged up. Russell Gage has a hamstring. Even Perriman's dealing with a knee injury. It's a joke now. It's actually a running joke how many injuries they have. I think Scotty Miller is his only healthy wide receiver right now, and they can't get on the same page 90% of the time. So I'm going to go Mariota.
Cole Beasley.
Oh, I know. You're right. Cole Beasley just showed up. Cole Beasley, if there is a player prop of 2.5 receptions, take it. I'm telling you, the guy's going to get at least 3.
Take it twice. Yeah.
Yes, there you go. Ryan Mahoney. Needs an RB2 and a flex out of these 3. So you need an RB2 and a flex. You get Shepard, Dobbins, Stevenson. Supposedly someone on ESPN said that Dobbins will get around 12 carries of the chart. That changes your answer at all. So really we need to start 2 of these 3, but it has to be, so it could be 2 running backs or a receiver. Let's go to you, Gladys. What do you think? Shepard, Dobbins, Stevenson.
Oh, I need a running back. A running back too. Okay, I'm sorry.
Running back too, yeah.
RB2. Dobbins is coming in off an injury. I'm not liking him as much. 12 carries is a lot in that when you have Lamar back there. So I'm going Stevenson as your RB2 and Shepard as your flex. I'm leaving Dobbins out. Sorry, against New England.
Matt?
I'm the same way until I know Dobbins is going to be able to take at least a 3/4 load. And then I will say, because I've mentioned a couple of sneaky ads, now's the time to get Gus Edwards. Throw him on the bottom of your bench.
If you have an IR spot that's open, just go get Gus Edwards and put him in it. I mean, that's what I did in all my IR leagues. It's fine. I actually am going to go Shepard and Stevenson here as well. I'm not interested in Dobbins until I see it. I just know I'm very adverse to injuries, and a lot of this stuff too. We saw with Godwin, they came back too soon. They got another injury because of it, so there's overcompensation. So take it safe. Shepard's got a solid matchup. Stevenson's a stud, but we'll see at that one. But I think, honestly, Stevenson isn't even a must-start either. So if you have other options, feel free to throw them in here. Brian, shout out to Brian. Brian gets it. Yes, sir. Subscribe to you guys. That's what I'm talking about, folks. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, folks. We're doing big things. We're here every Sunday for 3 hours, basically, hanging out, drinking coffee, having a laugh. That's what it's all about, folks. All right, let's do the next one. We already talked about this one, Sky Empire. Now, this might be our Sky Galasco, just not here, but he says, he just thinks highly of himself, thinks he's an empire. Just kidding. This is probably another Sky. Shout out to you. One of the guys on our show, Sky, is named Sky, if you didn't know. Anyway, who do I start at by flex? Thielen, DK, Lazard, or Hardman? So this is a good one. 4 players, 1 option. Let's kick it over to you, Matt. What do you got?
DK. I think it's Justin Jefferson all day for Minnesota. I think the weather in Tampa Bay makes Lazard's day a little bit rough, and I'm not a fan of Hardman, so give me DK against the cruddy Falcons pass coverage.
What do you got, Gladys?
I'm pretty sure I'm going DK. I just want to see his snap share. Yes, I am going DK because Gino, DK. We know the weather in Seattle.
It's fine. Yeah, I actually did see. I did when I checked this morning. It looked fine. The only game I saw that had any alarm bells was the Bucks-Packers game, but that might not even be a thing either. We'll have to figure that out closer to 10.
Well, the governor did. He announced a state of emergency for Florida with the hurricane coming. But
oh wow,
Jen, my wife's family's in Tampa. Nobody has called to tell me we're wrong yet. So I think we're looking at rain. We're not looking at hurricane conditions.
Okay.
What are you doing?
My this thing always goes unfocused. Don't mind me right now. I'm just gonna be acting like a weirdo. There we go. It gets blurry. So go ahead.
I'm gonna go DK in that one. In your
I actually like both. So here's my. I think Lazard is out until we see it. He's still kind of banged up. We're still coming back. The weather might be a thing. Tampa Bay has some young talent at cornerback. Hardman not even in the conversation for me too. I agree. But Thielen and DK, I think DK is the guy with the situation with the Falcons secondary. They do have some talent, but it seems like the talent hasn't mattered so far. Everyone's just blowing them up. So I actually am okay with DK here. But I'm interested in Thielen too. I really like the Lions-Vikings game today. I want to get as many pieces of that, but I think Justin Jefferson might just cannibalize everything if he can. All right,
I heard that Thielen hasn't gone 3 games. He's never gone 3 games without a touchdown, and he's had 2 games already without a touchdown. So
I have so much Adam Thielen right now, so I love that. Thank you for being my emotional support friend because I needed it because I think I have Thielen almost every league, and he's been very disappointing. Like even last week, he had no catches until like halfway through the 4th quarter, and then he caught like 4 or 5 balls, and it's just very stressful to watch. I mean, watching Thielen, he wasn't even involved. It's just like Kirk Cousins looks for Justin Jefferson, which 9 times out of 10 would have been smart, but when he's blanketed by Darius Slay, who's on fire. Anyway, we've already talked about that. But yeah, it's DK Metcalf here. All right, Yuki Kimura. Start Gibson or risk it and start Connor. So it's ironically, a healthy Antonio Gibson versus a James Conner situation here. Let's go over to you, Matt. What do you got?
Probably lean Connor. I think Philly's going to shut down Washington this week. Again, we've talked about the Philly D. So give me Connor. If they say he's healthy enough, I'm good with that news. I'll start Connor.
Gladys?
I'm starting Gibson. Even with the Philly defense, he's your dual threat. He's going to either run the ball or catch the ball. He's been catching it out of the backfield. So I'm starting Gibson, a healthy Gibson, over a hampered Connor.
I agree. I'm going to go Gibson here as well. I have so much Connor too, and I'm just going to try to do the reverse juju on myself. So let's hope that. But I am going to go Gibson. The matchup is a little better against Eagles.
Let's go to Samuel. Curtis Samuel.
All right. Dimitri Ladioko. Dang,
nice.
I like it. Brad Smith, if you're out there, just come to the show because I need help. I mean, honestly, at this point, no, we love you guys. We appreciate it. I'm trying my best here. All right, we got Dortch, Nelson Aguilar, Sterling Shepard, half PPR. I love this question. These are some nice, deeper options. Let's go to you, Matt, first. What do you got?
I think it's Hollywood this week for Arizona. So I'm going to go with Bobby. I'm looking behind you. I don't see the Sterling Shepard jersey, but after he tears it up and makes me look smart, I'm going to go with Shepard this week.
Gladys?
I'm going Dortch. His matchup isn't that great, but I just don't. Like I said, Aguilar, he's in an offense that does not pass the ball that much. Sterling Shepard, I don't know how I feel about him. So I'm going Dortch.
And I'm curious for Dimitri. We saw Dimitri in here in week 1 for sure. I'm wondering if this is a flex where he might have a running back that we like more. If Dimitri's still on, maybe if we can get him to follow up on that.
I actually don't mind Aguilar and Shepard this week. I actually like them both personally. The question for me, though, is like Nelson Aguilar does seem very like boom or bust. Is he going to catch that long touchdown or that long reception? He seems like that. And Shepard, I don't know what it is about Shepard. Daniel Jones must have a crush on Sterling Shepard. He just, like last week, he had 10 targets. Last season, he played like 5 full games. He had 8.6 targets per game. I talked about this yesterday on our show, and he's playing a different role now. He's playing on the outside more. And I know Trayvon Diggs is out there, but I mean, the Cowboys are just one of the teams in our analysis that allows a lot of points to the outside to receivers. I don't know what it is. Shepard, he's probably going to get hurt in 2 to 3 weeks. It is what it is. But for some reason, when he's out there, it's great. I don't know. Call me crazy. I'm going to go Sterling Shepard. And as a Giants fan, I might be a little bit, hoping for, like, deep down, I just want one of my receivers to stay healthy for more than a month. So maybe that's what this is here. All right. So Colton, once again, I dropped Brandon Cooks. I'm just going to first league for Drake London. I'm going to say no. I would love Drake London on my team. There's probably a better option than Brandon Cooks. I think I can answer that. I think you guys agree, right? We all agree? All right, cool. Yep. All right, my bad. I was outside. I had a better connection now. I'll send my whole lineup. Thank you, extras. He's going to help us out there. Joseph Valley, PPR, Chris Olave at Carolina, Romeo Doubs at Tampa, Noah Brown, a little sleeper action against the Giants. Let's kick it to you, Glass. Which one of these 3 guys are you looking to start?
Ooh, I like the Noah Brown action. I think that Giants, everyone's paying attention to CeeDee Lamb. Noah Brown's out there. I like the Noah Brown action against the Giants.
He's been good too.
Yeah.
Noah Brown. Super weird. I love it.
I know.
Go ahead. It's so weird. And the backup quarterback to backup receiver thing sometimes it's a thing. It's like they played together for a long time for the Dallas Cowboys, those 2 guys as backups. So that could be a thing. Matt, any thoughts?
So your news earlier said Gallup's in. Do you have information that you found that says Gallup is a full go, a partial go? They're going to test
He's not going to be full go. No. Yeah, he's not. There's no way. Even if he plays. But it won't impact. He's a 62 on 6score.com. So even if he plays, he's playing at 60%.
Yeah, and that's the news I have here in San Antonio too. So I want to go with Olave, but we talked about him. We want to see a little bit more for him. But I'll go Noah Brown as well.
I know. I'm going to go Noah Brown. Let's do it. I like it. I'm totally oddly into it. Let's do that. All right. So Ezra, this is a full lineup we talked about a little bit earlier from Ezra. So we're going to have to circle back to this at some point. But yeah, he's got Cousins, Flacco, Robinson, Cook, Saquon, Swift, Stevenson, Pittman, Judy, Cooks, Mike Williams, Elijah Moore, Pat Freiermuth, Hunter Henry. Then he's got Folk Gano. So just from this, I'll tell you this right now. I would not have 2 defenses and 2 kickers. Like, this is like a type of thing where you can probably drop one of those guys, stream those positions if you need to. And I would start filling in some more depth. I mean, your team's absolutely studly. But I think the one thing you might need is a receiving core. Like, I mean, Judy's a nice player, but hasn't really shown it consistently. Mike Williams and Brandon Cooks are very good. Elijah Moore might have been passed up by Garrett Wilson already. We don't know what the long-term future is there. So maybe going to pick up some depth at receiver might make sense. I'm going
to get another quarterback for when Flacco either implodes or when Zach Wilson comes back.
All right. Gladys, any thoughts about the roster?
I agree. I think 2 kickers and 2 defenses is excessive.
Okay. Gotcha. Pirates are my friends. Welcome back, buddy. Penny or Stevenson, PPR this week. Gladys, let's start with you.
Penny, just because we know he's RB1 until Walker can prove otherwise, and Stevenson is playing RB2. So I would just go just by the volume. I don't think either one of them are going to be extremely helpful in PPR, but I would go Penny over Stevenson.
Matt?
Yep, same for me. Penny is the RB1 in Seattle. The Falcons are not great. So give me him versus a for sure timeshare in New England.
I don't know. Kenneth Walker, this situation, man, this is another one where I'm just kind of like, I mean, it's the same thing. We know Damian Harris is the lead 1A. We already know that. I guess it's Penny. That's fine. I actually think that Walker's going to be the guy. I think that's what they want, and I think it's just going to be. We saw it in the player usage data last week. He immediately comes in and gets a decent workload. But we're talking about this week. We're not talking about future. So give me Penny. I mean, jeez. Pirates, I don't even know if I want you to be my friend anymore. That's whatever. Just kidding, man. We love you. Rory Curte, what's going on, man? Pollard or Connor in the flex full PPR? Matt, let's go to you.
Connor, not even close.
Ooh, I strenuously disagree. I think it's close, and it would be Pollard.
Oh, nice. So it leaves it up to me. Thanks, guys. Now I gotta make a smart decision. I don't want to do that for in the morning.
Remember who's Dallas playing?
Giants.
That's an easy decision for you then.
I don't care. I am the worst Giants fan in the world. If Tony Pollard is on the 1 yard line, I have him in my DFS line. I'm rooting for Tony Pollard to get in the end zone. I don't care. My thought process is if the Giants can't win the game with my fantasy team also winning, then I don't want to be a Giants fan anymore. So the Giants can still win the game and allow plenty of fantasy points to my players. So I am the worst when it comes to that. You might have just swayed me the other way. No, I just wanted to take a look. This is the thing, right? So with last year when they played the Rams, this is the stat lines for James Conner. I just wanted to take a look because this guy's playing on a bum wheel. I'm interested to see what the deal is here. So last year he had 4 carries for 19 yards, 13 for 31, and 18 for 50 last year. But he had 5 touchdowns. So, it's just and he also in one game had 9 receptions for 94 yards. That's wild. But it seems like he's very touchdown dependent. It's like he's not going to have a big day. Give me Connor. I think he's going to get the usage still. Even though the numbers are very scary, I just think he's just a touchdown machine. So he might get you 50 yards total, but you'll get the end zone. Call me crazy, but I think that's what I'm going to go with here. What time is the Dolphins game today? I think it's 1:00, if I'm not mistaken. Does anybody have? Yeah, I think it's Dolphins are.
And the Buffalo's early game.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's 11 o'clock my time.
Pirates are my friends. Do you play Chargers wide receiver if Herbert is out? Great question here, Matt. Let's go to you first.
Again, I want to see what other receivers he has. I like the receivers for the Chargers, but I'd like to see what his other options are if he's still on there. But I don't have a problem still starting Mike Williams. I don't have a problem if Keenan Allen is healthy to start him. And I like Josh Palmer as well. But if he's got a better option based on Herbert being out, then I would like to see who those players are. Hard to answer that in a vacuum.
Any thoughts, Gladys?
If Herbert's out, I am not playing any of the Chargers receivers against the Jaguars defense because I think the Jaguars are a sneaky good defense that held the Colts to 0 points last week. And I think Chase Daniels won't have a chance. That's just me. I would play Eckler for sure, but I wouldn't play any of the wide receivers.
Yeah, I think Chase Daniel's a fine, competent backup. I think it really depends on what you have, right? I personally, you got to downgrade all of them, of course. I think Mike Williams goes from a borderline wide receiver 1 to a questionable flex. But if you don't have legit options, I don't think they're must-sit players. I think Chase Daniel will do enough. I would sit Keenan Allen, though. The reason why I say that, though, is because he's hurt. He's coming back from injury. You couple that with no quarterback. I think the only receiver I'd be okay with is Mike Williams. But, I think I would agree. If you have decent options, you're probably fading those guys if you can. Now, I don't care what anybody says. I would not have a chance.
Go ahead. Do it.
No, I don't need a lawsuit. Okay, I'm just gonna say I love the Avatar. Awesome. Jags are going to the playoffs. Let's go. I love this guy already. Let's do it. Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be a generational talent. Let's see it. I want to see it. Let's see. Let's jump out to Sky Empire. Pick one. You got Henderson, Travis Etienne, or Ramondre Stevenson here. Couple some committee backs here. So let's over to you, Matt, first. What do you think?
Well, you mentioned it earlier. You think the Rams want Akers to be the guy. I think you're right in that. I think James Robinson has looked better than Etienne so far. Stevenson is the 1B. But until Akers is the guy, I think I like Henderson out of this list.
Gladys?
This is a PPR, right? Sky has a PPR? No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
I actually would go ETN, even though I know that like Robinson is so far out snapping him. ETN had like one more target than he did last week, and I think in a PPR I would go ETN getting the target share over Stevenson is out, so B Henderson would be like the closest. It would be between ETN and Henderson. I would go ETN and Henderson on one A.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go Travis Etienne here. I think that's my guess here. I think Justin Herbert is out though. I know this sounds crazy, but that game the scoring in that game is going to go way down. So you might want to pivot in that case, and maybe I would go Ramondre Stevenson, but I think Etienne's the play here if you have to. All right, Scott, another one. Chargers or Bengals DST? Let's go to you, Gladys. What do you think?
Chargers against Jacksonville. I would go Bengals against the Jets, even though I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think you have more chance for turnovers in that game than you would against the Jaguars. Have been playing good ball. I would go Bengals defense.
Matt?
I agree. Bengals are healthier on defense. Flacco does two things well. He is immobile, and he throws interceptions.
Okay. I'm going to go Bengals as well there. Ghost Man, Ron. Spooky. It's getting October. October's right around the corner. Spooky season upon us. We got a Ghost Man. I like it, Ron. Let's do it. Sanders or Gibson, or play both and sit Aaron Jones. I don't think I'm sitting Aaron Jones personally. I'm going to go Sanders here. I'll go first. What about you, Gladys? What do you got?
I would go Sanders too in that game. And Aaron Jones. I wouldn't sit Aaron Jones.
Matt?
Yeah, I'm a Packers fan. I'm not even going to address this question.
So Sanders or Gibson?
Anyway.
at least address half the question. Right?
It's like, yeah.
I'm pulling out the red pen. Ghost Man Ron. I'm going to troll on.
Perfect. He's going to ghost us soon. So just appreciate that. So extras brings up that he's facing a guy that has JT is projected to win. I don't know if I wanted to try something, but was dumb. Nah, you're all good.
Yeah, not dumb. You're not dumb at all.
This is
a good question.
What I was thinking about changing this whole show to not even a Sunday Live Start Sit show, just like a think tank. This is a think tank where you come and air out your grievances for your lineup, and we all can see here because we all have them. So don't even hesitate to ask. That's what we're here for. We want to talk you through everything you got. Zachary Churchinkin, I like it. Pick 2 PPR: Pierce, CEH, Mooney, Dotson, and Bateman. Let's go to you, Matt. What do you got?
CEH, we've already professed our love for him today. And I like Bateman over Dotson. Mooney's going to have to prove that Fields can play football. And right now, Fields doesn't look like he can play football. Pierce just coming back. I think Pittman is back as well. So I think Pierce goes down the food chain. So give me CEH and Bateman. And if you have a spot for a third, I would make it Dotson.
I'm going to go on a PPR.
I think we lost her.
Oh, I muted because I was talking to my dog. Sorry. I'm going to go.
There we go. All right.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm Dotson and Bateman.
Can you guys hear each other? Because I can't. I'm broken up right now. What's going on? You guys okay?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead.
Dotson and Bateman. You're fine.
My headphones just decided to just stop working.
No. I had muted for a second because I was telling my dog to go lay down. Sorry. I thought you could see when I mute, but I was telling Jackie to go lay down. And I didn't want you guys to hear me yell at my dog.
I'm like, here we go. I'm playing with this.
He's like, I'm sorry.
Oh,
my bad.
That's on me. Yeah, because last time, the craziest part, I had these headphones connect to multiple devices, right? So I was actually doing a draft. You were on the thing with me. It connected to my other computer. You guys went silent, and I couldn't hear anything anymore. And now I'm looking over at my computer, and I couldn't. It was a disaster. So this is a great show. Let's keep moving. All right, I'm actually gonna go Pierce and CEH. I like CEH today. I think the Colts' run defense isn't as intimidating when you have no Shaq Leonard. So I'm actually going to go CEH. And then Pierce, I just think it's his day. I think he's going to have a nice day today. He's going to take over that workhorse role. All right, Dimitri, he's going to has Mostert in the flex, needs a wide receiver too.
So that goes back. We asked him earlier if he had another option, but at flex, so he has to have Mostert there. So we already answered this question.
Oh, so he said he says he needs 2 defenses, 2 kickers. But yeah, I'm going to drop Flack. All right, so he needs to have it. It has to be set up that way. All right, hey, touche. This is what we know. We learn something new every day. He's in a special league where you need to have 2 kickers and 2 defenses. All right, you got to talk to your commissioner about that, man. You want more wide receivers, more running backs. Take off the limitations. Let the rosters be whatever they want. Trust me, let it be anarchy. Trust me, it's better for the league. I take off roster limits if you can. All right, let's do David Steely. All right. Bears, Giants, Jags defense over Bills D today. Bills are very banged up in the secondary. They have 6 starters out. Of course, we talked about our injury report. Matt, let's kick it over to you first. Any of these defenses pique your interest? We've got the Bears against the Texans, Giants against the Cowboys, Jaguars against those Chargers.
We talked about the Jags and the Herbert. I would watch the Herbert news, but the Jags are probably the only D I would consider over the Bills, but I still like the Bills front. But I'm not a fan of the first 2 listed defenses there. I know Gladys she kind of likes the Chicago team against Houston, but
I do.
As I've said, I can't really do that.
I like them because the over/under is like 38. Like no one's scoring points in that game, and so the Bears defense should get. I guess it depends on your scoring. If you get scoring for 0 points, which you should on a defense, I would go the Bears. I think the Jaguars are a good pick if Herbert's not in, but I still think that game's going to be a little bit high scoring. So I would check the Herbert, like you said, I would check Herbert and see how he's playing, or if he's in. If he's in, I would pivot to the Bears. If he's out, I would go with the Jaguars. But I'm not going to Bills D. They're banged up. I think Miami's going to have a day out them.
So it's just like the weirdest thing. So like I always feel like the Bears Texans matchup makes sense playing some defenses. I just talked up Dameon Pierce a little bit, but I think that I know this is just like our own anecdote, and this is ridiculous to say, but like every time I think I know which defenses of those, like the Bears Texans, right? I'm like, all right, I'm going to go in on the Bears. The Texans defense has a good game, and I'm like, God dang it! Like it's just like one of those things where I always notice this happens. I'm going to go Bears because I do think that's the game you want to attack. Davis Mills is he's just not. I think Davis Mills is a competent quarterback, but like it doesn't scare me. I'm not scared about that game. The only thing I worry about with the Bears sometimes though is that Justin Fields could make a bad play and then they put him in a bad situation, and then that's cheap points that you get against your defense. So I get that, but give me the low score. I think if Herbert is out, go Jacksonville. If Herbert's in, go Bears.
Did you say Justin Fields could make a bad play? I just want to make sure I understood the first letter of that word. It's would, will, when.
All right. All right. We got it. All right, David Steele. Do you think Kittle will be on the snap count, or is he getting going to the moon today? Anybody have thoughts? Let's go to you, Gladys. Any thoughts about Kittle today?
Snap count for sure. And even if he's not on a snap count, he's not 100%. So, yeah. If the question is, do I not play him because I think he's on a snap count, and it's a Monday night or Sunday night game. Mm-hmm. So if you have, I wouldn't play him. I think he's going to be on a snap count if Shanahan even does that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that the scary part for me is George Kittle is known to be a fantastic blocker. And the more blocking he does, the more punishment comes to the body that's already banged up. So I think that he has to be on a snap count, even if Shanahan doesn't call it a snap count. He's still a top 5 tight end in my book, especially with Schultz being injured. But I don't see him playing every down, every snap. And again, Shanahan is this weird running back centric dude. Garoppolo is a game manager type, maybe game manager plus. And I think with all of that, Kittles cannot be counted on to be a going to the moon guy today.
Yeah, I think it's a wait and see thing, right? I mean, there's another problem too we have to factor in. It is a Sunday night football game. So what if they decide we're going to hold them out one more week last minute, and then you're kind of holding your – do you have – you're going to start the backup Ross Dwelly, who had a touchdown last week. Maybe if you stash him on your bench. But I think he's like SixScore.com has him at 72% right now. So I think I'm going to take a wait and see approach. Keep him on my bench. Start another guy. So find some guy on the waiver wire. Mike Jordan, what's up, everyone? Good luck today. Michael Jordan, shout out to our boy. We love you in Chicago. Good stuff, man. It's great. Thank you for that. What's all you take on Antonio Gibson? It seems like most folks are met on him. I think a lot, from my opinion, too, with Antonio Gibson, it's the pending looming return of Brian Robinson. What happens to that offense? Does Robinson recover quick enough? Is he back by week 4 or week 5? And then Gibson's in a time committee with J.D. McKissic getting passing game work. I think until Robinson comes back, Gibson's awesome. I think I'm all about him, but that's my take on him. I think the problem is for me, if I'm a Gibson owner, I'm going to try to stash maybe a Brian Robinson in my R spot, or maybe even try to acquire him now just to see what happens. But let's go to you, Gladys. Any thoughts about Antonio Gibson, short-term and long-term?
Short-term, you definitely want him in your lineup. Long-term, I hear Brian Robinson is like making really good recovery, which is excellent, but you don't know what's going to happen in the long term. Hang on to Gibson, play him. You got him.
Matt?
I am met on him, right, based on what we saw last year, but the opportunity is there, and he's the lead back. So I think you play him now, right, run him into the ground, and when he is all used up, then you can pivot somewhere else. He's RB1 for now.
Yeah. Just some breaking news. Jalen Johnson, one of the top cornerbacks for the Bears, is out today. That's interesting. Could hurt the Bears secondary. Could be good news for Brandon Cooks and Nico Collins this week as well. So that's just something I thought we should talk about there. Zachary Kirkhagen. That was a Dameon Pierce, not Alex Pierce. Sorry, I should have been more specific. That's cool. I think we all thought it was Dameon Pierce, so we're good to go there, Zach. Appreciate that. Jacob Lucier, Noah Brown, or Devin Duvernay. I think we're a Noah Brown team here for the most part.
We're Team Noah.
We're good with we're Team Noah. We all about James Gannon, a.k.a. my burner account, according to Matt. Bobby Lamarco, you are the man. I literally once I try to put in like every bi-weekly, I'm gonna tell James Gannon. So maybe like once a month, throw in some nice words about me, because I think Matt's starting to sniff it out a little bit. Yeah. In all seriousness, he is a buddy of mine from college. I swear on my mother that is true. But it is awesome that he actually thinks I'm a good man. He thinks I'm a man. That's good stuff.
I'm not going to discourage him, because I believe he is one of our subscribers. So I won't say an ill word towards burner account James.
Yes, burner account James. I love it for a second of it. All right, Jason Lieberman. We have one more question here before we take a quick break. I have Herbert and need to pick up insurance policy Carr. I'm in a PPR and need to drop one of my bench options. Who do I drop from? Damian Harris, Stevenson, and ETN. That's a tough one. Let's go to you, Matt, first. What do you got?
So the sneaky move for me would be, if you're favored to win today and he thinks he's got a good chance of doing it, drop your kicker. You can get the same guy next week, or a guy that's very similar, and pick up Carr. If he doesn't feel comfortable doing that, then I would probably drop Stevenson based on what we've said earlier about Damian Harris being the one and ETN being in a good PPR role. Probably Stevenson for me, but I would.
He's just picking up Carr as an insurance policy. So,
well, if Herbert doesn't play, he needs to play Carr. Yeah.
Right, but I mean, I don't know that I'd drop. If I had to drop one, I would drop ETN. He's the least productive of those two, I think. But I would. It would depend on the league. If I thought I could drop him and then pick him up, I didn't think my league mates would, are that diligent on waiver wire and would notice it. I would drop ETN, knowing that I'm going to pick him up again and drop. But none of those are good choices. It's like Sophie's choice with football players. What are you going to do? I don't know. If Herbert plays, I want to know, Jason, if Herbert plays injured, are you going to play him regardless, or is this just in case he does not play at all?
I think it doesn't. If he doesn't play at all,
Okay.
I think you gotta roll the dice on Herbert
Right,
if he plays. Yeah.
So, yeah, if I had to drop one, I would drop ETN, but none of those are good choices.
So here's a couple roster ideas for you. And Matt, this is a great job of thinking about this because this is very true. There's certain leagues like Yahoo, for example, certain sleeper leagues that allows you to drop players on your bench for players who haven't played yet. So, for example, if you have, if you're in a Yahoo sleeper league and you are currently waiting on Herbert and you find out late window that Justin Herbert's not going to play, you can actually drop that kicker, pick up a guy on your drop the kicker or defense that you have on your team, pick up Carr, play him. And then, for example, let's say it's a close game, and you're going into Sunday Night Football and the score is basically tied. And you think, oh, okay, I need to pick up a kicker. You could drop a bench player. So you could drop a Stevenson, who would probably be my pick here. And you could pick up that kicker to get the win on the week if that's needed. But like Matt said, you could be getting blown. You might win the week without him, or might get blown out without him. So instead of dropping one of these guys, maybe drop that kicker or defense. See if your league does that first off. That's the key. If you want to find that out. I just play around. I'm a weird fantasy person. Like I was just one day finding out on Yahoo they allowed you to do that. I thought it was the craziest thing. And then Sleeper lets you do it too for certain leagues. So it's just a little trick of the trade, if you will. But yeah, if you get to Sunday Night Football, you have the four games. You have the Denver kicker, Brandon McManus, the San Francisco Robbie Gould. You have the Giants kicker, the Dallas kicker. So you could pick up that kicker in the late windows and use them as well. So I think that's probably my thought process there. Play around a little bit with that idea. But I think if you're just in a vacuum, I'm probably going to drop Stevenson because ETN is, still getting splitting work with James Robinson right now, I guess. But
yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't feel right.
60-40,
right.
I think.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right. But yeah, that would be my thought process there. All right. Derek, what's going on, man? A fellow Razzballian. Appreciate you, right? Fellow Razzball guy from the baseball side. Got to get you over to football. Anyway, half PPR, Hollywood Brown or Penny in the flex. I'm going to go Hollywood Brown here. What about you, Gladys?
Hollywood Brown. Oh, do I need to say more? I'm sorry.
No, I love it. What? No, go for it, Matt.
Yeah, I kind of like Hollywood, but I would like him much more if it was full PPR. Sometimes he's going to have the 11 targets, 9 catches. Sometimes he's going to have 5 targets, 5 catches. So I kind of dig Penny in this role, but with Walker back, I think give me Hollywood. And Bobby, I will say this on the record, knowing that Derek is listening. I sent you a text yesterday and said I might have convinced another guy to come on and talk football, right?
Yeah.
There's your guy. So if you give him a little bit of a shout out today, you may have him all blushing and feel good about himself, and you may see him in the next couple of weeks.
So vague, by the way. Matt just decides to tell me that he's got somebody. I'm like, all right. What's his name? Does he even write for Razzball? What is the deal? Like, very mysterious.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we're all about it. Listen, at football, we're always trying to get more people on to write and jump on the podcast. So if you want to be a part of it, that's awesome. In fact, you're already Razzball. Let's go. Keep it in the family. Yeah. That's what we're trying to do over here. So, and listen, we're
Razzball. Do you even Razzball?
Yeah, at this point, I mean, grow up if you haven't Razzballed like you're supposed to. But yeah, that's what Razzball does. If you don't do multiple sports at Razzball, I feel like, what are you doing? I mean, I feel like me, Gladys are like the only people that don't do multiple sports at Razzball. So, because we get it. Football season is where it is.
Yeah, it's where it's at.
Guys, Jason sent us a bunch of stuff. Jason said, in case he doesn't play at all, so that's the question for Herbert. Yeah. I likely won't win the league. That's Jason. That's not true, man. Jason, it's only 2 weeks in, dude. You can win. Stay with us. We got you.
Got this. You got this, Jason.
We'll take care of it. Won't be very close, but yeah, for this week, we'll see, man. Honestly, those projections are always off. I love how the ESPN and Sleeper and Yahoo, the projections are never close.
Yeah,
so
CBS.
Like, don't even worry about it, man. You have a shot. He has the Denver defense against San Francisco and Tyler Bass versus in Buffalo. Those are 2 solid players for their positions, but
so he could drop the Denver D, add Carr, and then he's guaranteed Dallas and New York will be available on the waiver wire if he needs a defense. right? I don't know if I want to drop Denver or Bass, but you could do either one, right? The Bass is the early game, and then he could use your strategy to pick up a kicker later if it's close, or just grab Bass waiver wires next week.
Yeah, Jason, is it Yahoo? Tell us your league. Which one are you in? ESPN doesn't allow you to do that, but Yahoo does definitely, and Sleeper depends. I know, like my home league and Sleeper, they locked it, which is terrible. I mean, the commissioners, come on, dude. But there's like I have like other casual Sleeper leagues with other accounts and stuff, and they actually let you do it. So keep that in mind. All right.
He said it's NFL.
NFL.com. I actually don't know. I actually have no leagues in NFL. Anybody?
No, I don't.
That's fun. I actually wouldn't mind doing a test run with the Denver defense. Like Denver against San Francisco, I'm not overly excited. So why don't you wait? Never mind. That doesn't make any sense. Forget I said it, Jason. I'm sorry. That made no sense what I just said. Sorry, we don't have NFL information, unfortunately. So you're going to have to do a trial run. You let us know. Come back next week. Let us know if you actually try it and if it works on NFL. We appreciate you. All right, James Gannon. Guys, I have a question about Tua and Burrow. What's going on? What's going on, Gladys? Tell us what you got. Tua or Burrow?
I'm going to go Burrow just because I think he has a higher upside. I think he gets his head out of his ass. I think he throws for a couple touchdowns to Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Tua isn't bad against that Buffalo hampered defense. But I just feel like if I pick Tua, I'm chasing points from last week, which, isn't bad. But Buffalo, I understand that Buffalo's missing like key players. I understand Michael Hyde's out and Ponder's hurt, and they haven't had Darius all season, all 2 games. So that's not really in the equation. But I just think that Buffalo is so deep and so good on defense that it's going to hurt, but it's not going to be terminally hurting. You know what I mean? It's going to be painful, and Tua might be able to overcome it. But I think Burrow will be better against I'm going to go Burrow against the Jets defense. I just think Chase and Higgins and Boyd are going to be too much for the Jets.
Yeah, I'm taking Burrow as well. I think that the Buffalo front is strong enough to put a little bit of pressure on Tua, but boy, it's hard to ever bench a guy when he's got Waddle and Tyreek Hill.
Yeah,
two stud receivers. But for me, it's Burrow. And Bobby, after you give your answer, we missed one from Jason right above that question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go Tua. So there's two units in the NFL that need continuity the most. It's offensive line and secondary play. And when you're talking about 4 guys, all four of their starters are out for the Bills. I just think that the other aspect of this too is that I'm very confident that Josh Allen's going to put up points. So I think Tua's going to have to keep up. And even if it ends up being like last week where Lamar Jackson put up points and then Tua had to come back and that's where all the volume came from, I'm confident either way. I think that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are going to eat up that backups. And I just think that, I don't know. I honestly could see Joe Flacco having a disastrous day. The Jets score 6 points and the Bengals win 17-6. Like I can see that happening easily in this game. But Joe Flacco, like I said, every time I doubt Joe Flacco, it comes back to haunt me. All right, Jason, in PPR, DJ Moore or Garrett Wilson? Let's jump down to you, Matt, first. I'm going to jump off just for a quick second. So, guys, take your time with this one. Give us a nice thoughtful answer, and I'll be right back in about 60 seconds. Matt, you hit us.
Yeah. So, Gladys, I think that we heard from kind of the New York homer. Bobby said he was a Garrett Wilson fan over Elijah Moore. I'm okay with that. I think that based on what we've talked about so far, the Jets are going to have to throw to stay in the game with the Bengals. Something tells me DJ Moore is the better NFL player today. And with me, I'm probably going with the better NFL player today, though Garrett Wilson is making it very difficult to make that call outright.
Who's more playing? Who are they playing?
Carolina is playing. I'll have to look it up real quick.
Wait, I can check. The Saints.
Yes. So Lattimore, and then the Lattimore's partner, Bobby listed him as in as well. I can't remember the name of the gentleman, but maybe that makes Garrett Wilson the better play. Lattimore shuts receivers down, and it is Baker Mayfield in Carolina.
It is Baker Mayfield. That would be my reservation about it. It is Baker Mayfield. Garrett Wilson, I think they're going to be playing from behind. Garrett Wilson is getting the targets. And
Jason, the guy that's asking the question, he needs a home run, right? Because he might be without Herbert. So if we're going home run, give me Wilson playing from behind like last week.
Yeah. Okay. So Flacco's averaging 51 and a half passing attempts per game.
His arm's going to fall off.
Wilson is getting like a 17.5% target share or something like that. I'm going to have to go Garrett Wilson. I mean, I don't trust either one of the quarterbacks, but I trust, you okay there, buddy? But I trust,
sorry guys.
Flacco even more. So I'm going to go Garrett Wilson in a PPR. I think you're going to get at least the attempts there.
So we agree. We're going Garrett Wilson based on Bobby's feedback on the opposite Lattimore cornerback being available, Baker throwing to DJ Moore, and Garrett Wilson playing from me.
And listen, this is the funny, interesting thing, because of the dynamic that they have with Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson, and Elijah Moore. Actually, the guy who's been playing the most in the slot this season has been Garrett Wilson, and that's actually a better matchup against Cincinnati. So Garrett Wilson is actually someone I'm favoring a little bit more. And before we just keep going, I actually want to take a look because I'm not even sure. Like, how has DJ Moore been against New Orleans? Because this is a rival. This is a division game. I just want to see how he did last year against them. I'm just curious. Pulling it up. 3 for 29, 8 for 75, and 1. Jeez. I hate when it's all over the place. Can you just be consistent? Give me a nice solid 5 for 75 every week. Not all this ridiculous. So I guess he had his moments. I know Lattimore was out a bunch last year, though.
I wonder if that's when Lattimore was out.
Yeah, I can actually just look at that up right now.
The 8
Yeah, Marshawn Lattimore did he miss last year early on? That's a good question, Matt. Let's find out right now. I know he doesn't shadow DJ Moore typically, but just the fact that Lattimore's out there, you run that risk. But I just want to see his game logs. Yeah. Wow. He was out in week 2. That's when he went off. And then he had his pedestrian game when he was back.
Oh, $3.
Garrett Wilson is your guy. Yeah. There you go. Perfect. All right.
Robbie drops a $3 word. Pedestrian has been used.
If this was what is that? Scrabble.
Yeah.
Right? Is that the one but it could have been double letter. So, or triple word. Yeah. All right. So I might have just got like 18,000 points with that one. All right. Isaac Melendez. Sorry. Full PPR, pick 2. Hollywood Brown, Brandon Cooks, James Robson. Solid options. Let's kick it over to you, Gladys, first. What do you got?
Didn't you say that someone in secondary is out in Chicago, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Jalen Johnson. Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Hollywood and Brandon Cooks.
I'm the same way. Full PPR. I'm the same way. Give me the 2 receivers.
Yeah, I honestly, Jalen Johnson's a really good. I might be overthinking it, but Jalen Johnson's like the guy in Chicago secondary. So him being out is actually quite interesting for Brandon Cooks. I'm actually gonna go Cooks and Hollywood Brown. Let's do that. All right, Isaac. Once again, Mahomes or Hurts. Geez, first off, this is. When you have to do a single QB and you pick both these guys, like this is trade bait. Like you gotta go get yourself once these guys are. This is gonna be so difficult every week to pick the right guy. Honestly, from a stress standpoint, go find the team with like the worst quarterback and go poach a player from them. Go trade your like wide receiver, low end wide receiver 2 and Hurts to get like an upgrade at wide receiver or running back. Trust me, this is not a question I want to be answering every week because, Mahomes is going to give you the high floor constantly with some ceiling weeks and Hurts, forget about with the rushing and all that. But I am going to – for this week, I think I'm just going to stick with Mahomes just because of the Indianapolis Colts and how they've struggled in the secondary. Listen, they lost 24-0 last week. They made Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk look like a stud. So that's my thought. Let's jump to you, Matt. What do you got?
So hot take, TAEK, right? Because it's going to come across as being not real popular. I'm not a Hurts truther. So for me, this is 100 times out of 100 Patrick Mahomes. I don't think about it. I don't make a decision. I don't flip a coin. It's always going to be Mahomes. I just am not sold on Hurts. I look at his stats every week. I feel like I might be wrong. He runs a lot, but for me,
this is fantasy. It's fantasy football, though. Like I maybe I understand it from an NFL standpoint, but this guy from a fantasy football standpoint is like an absolute stud. Yeah. So I think from football, you got to separate football from fantasy football sometimes, because this one from an NFL standpoint, it's Mahomes, but for fantasy football, Hurts is like he's so good. So
because I don't want to be a Hurts truther, I really don't look at his box scores. So when everybody says, "Oh, look at all the rushing," I'm like, didn't see it, and that's literally because I didn't look.
I love it. I love how you're just honest with yourself. You're like, I don't even care if he's the best player. It's over.
I think I'm right, and I don't want to know that I'm wrong, and don't try to prove it.
I love it. That's how we grow, right? Ignore everything you're wrong about, and you're always right. I love it. That's perfect. Go ahead, Gladys.
Okay, Hurts has averaged 5.2 yards per attempt. He has 3 rushing touchdowns. He has 28 rushing attempts, 147 yards in 2 games. He also has 63 passing attempts and a 69.8% completion percentage. And he's going against Washington and Carson Wentz. I'm going Hurts all day if you're getting points for both rushing and passing. I'm going for the upside.
And I'm not listening. I told you I don't want to hear the numbers.
No, that's smart. That's smart. I like this. I am going to do that all the time now. Like anytime someone tells me something about a player that I wasn't high on, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not into that. I'm just going to ignore you forever. That's perfect. Jason, shout out. Thank you, man, for joining the show. We appreciate you, man. We're love to do it. Come with us. We're going to be here every Sunday. Every Sunday we'll be here. At least 2 to 3 hours every single Sunday. You guys come and give us questions. We'll be here to answer them for you. Isaac, same for you, man. Give us a subscribe. He loves Gray. You're probably a Razzball baseball guy. Baseball is the flagship of Razzball. Gray does a great job over there. They've been killing it for years, but football is on the rise. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We got a bunch of stuff going on right now. My friends thought they were smart and let QBs drop, LOL. So sometimes the draft falls to you. I mean, listen, the smart money is to fade quarterback early, but I think the problem is if everyone in your league thinks they're smart and fades quarterback, you start getting ridiculous value for quarterbacks. So that is the way to do it, absolutely. And then finally, we got Beat-On. I mean, if you don't know who Beat-On is at this point, one of the he's like the founding father. He's on the Mount Rushmore of Razzball. He's up there. He's like I don't even remember the all 4 at this time. Thomas Jefferson, he's up there. He's one of them. I don't know. I don't know if he's Abe Lincoln. I don't know if he's Abe Lincoln or George Washington, but he's up there. That's what I'm saying. Trust me, I'm not even close to being on the mountain. I'm like, at this point. So it's all good.
We know we've made it when Rudy signs in, we've made it, right?
Gladys, I got to show you. I got a friend for you here.
Senior Sonny!
Oh,
yes! Hello, Senior!
Oh.
What's up, puppy?
Good morning.
Good.
Sonny is here to answer all your start-sit questions.
Hi, Sonny. And he looks like he's ready for it, too.
Oh, he's ready. He loves every second. Love it. Hi, buddy. All right, cool. Isaac, already shouting out Beat-On. Listen, this is now we're growing haywire. My baseball picks did not work out, but they were here for football too. We were here for football too. Isaac is staying with us, and I appreciate it. Shout out to J Moms. This is my mom. Honestly, I'm just gonna be flat out honest. Another burner account of mine. J Mom. I love how she like put J as her name's Janice, and then Mom. That's her YouTube name. God bless my mom. She is the best. I love her to death. But at the same time, like just the fact that she named her YouTube handle J Mom is just the pinnacle of my mom. It's perfect. Beat-On. I don't know quite there yet, but thanks for compliment, y'all. Yeah, listen, Beat-On. If we put you on the Mount Rushmore, you're on there, buddy. So don't worry about it. Honestly, we appreciate you for joining us, dude. Absolutely. Beat-On, you have any start-sit questions? Let us know. Drop them in the comments. By the way, but we don't have any questions this 1 second. But does either of you guys have a start-sit question? You have any lineup things? Let's jump into you, Gladys, first. Do you have any lineup decisions, flex things you got going on? Anything you want to talk through with me and Matt?
Yes.
While we're on the air.
Okay, I do. And it's going to be kind of an involved question, sort of. So I'm in this fantasy reality show called The Trenches. This week, if you're playing a player and they underperform, your opponent can take that player and put him in the waiver wire, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sucks because I have. Okay, these are the players that I have. I have Cooper Kupp, Tua, Patrick Mahomes, Saquon Barkley, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I'm sitting all of them because I fear that they will not perform, like they won't hit their expectation is what it is. They have to hit the points that they're expected to get. So if they don't hit the points they're expected to get, although Amon-Ra is only expected to get 16.92 points, which I think he'll hit out of the water. So should I put any of them back in my lineup?
Okay, first of all, I have one question. So
okay.
Yeah, this is wild. So if they're on their bench, they can't be taken, obviously.
Right.
So that's it has to be starting. So you run the risk if they don't hit. So Cooper Kupp, what's
22.77.
And this is a PPR league?
Yeah.
Man. So I talked about this with Cooper Kupp. So the matchup against the Cardinals is elite. Like the matchup is insane for slot receivers against the Cardinals this week. But he's only been good last year. He was only good in one game last year against the Cardinals. A lot of that had to do with the fact that they blew the doors off them in the playoffs.
Right.
And he actually had like almost like a 50% target share in that game.
So how about 9 for 80 and a touchdown gets him 23?
Yeah, I see it happening. I think he's gonna get. The problem is you're always going to be. This is how every week it's going to be. Unless like you would think the Buffalo game, you would have sat Cooper Kupp because you're like, oh, it's Buffalo, and he blew the doors off them. If you're looking strictly at our slot versus wide metric,
right.
Cooper Kupp it's not even. You're not even worried about it. You're like, he's going to kill it. You can't live in fear, Gladys. Now, if Cooper Kupp does really bad, I don't want you to leave Razzball, so don't play it.
Okay, my starting wide receivers, who I'm going to play. Okay. Jarvis Landry, Christian Kirk, Jalen Waddle in the flex.
What's Waddle's number?
18.25.
And you think that's safer than Amon-Ra at 16 and change?
No, but I don't want to take the chance of losing Amon-Ra.
But how do you get ahead in this league if you're constantly benching the guys you don't?
This is just this week. It's something different every week. So
you're saying for just this week?
Just this week, yeah.
Oh, yeah. If that's the case, then don't even risk it. Yeah. Screw it. Yeah, okay. That makes more sense. I thought this was every week. I'm like,
no.
You're never gonna want to start these guys.
No,
that's terrible.
No,
okay,
last week
that makes more sense.
What was it? Last week it was everyone who, like, there was. How did it go? There was like Jalen Waddle was in the waiver wire. Jamar Chase was in the waiver wire. If you lost the matchup, so like if I was playing Jalen Waddle against Christian Kirk and Christian Kirk lost the matchup, he would have to go on the waiver wire. So last week it was everyone who lost their matchup went in the waiver wire.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Remember, no risk it, no biscuit.
No biscuit.
Yeah.
But I'm keeping those boys on the bench for this week. Then we're good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I won't even risk it.
It's just like 1 week.
Yeah, it's 1 week.
Yeah.
Matt, anything for you?
What we talked about a little bit, I have Lazard is penciled in as a flex, but my other option is Lockett.
And I'd probably go Lockett.
Yeah, and I think based on the weather and the Atlanta defense, it's going to have to be Lockett for me. And a lot of it goes back to what you guys said. And I think we had it in 3, 4, maybe 5 different questions where Lockett or Lazard or the weather in Tampa came up. Probably even more questions than that when I factor in the weather. So I think that's going to be a mutter game, right? Fournette, Dillon, Aaron Jones.
Sorry. It doesn't look like it's going to rain anymore.
In Tampa?
Yeah. It says, I think we're good there.
I still think I'm going to go with Lockett. I think I like Lockett better than Lazard. You mentioned it, Bobby, just maybe 10 minutes ago. Until Lazard's fully back and shows me he's fully back, I think Lockett is the guy this week.
Okay.
What about you, Bobby?
Oh, the other one I have, but I think I made a decision, is either CEH or Hollywood in the flex.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's a terrible one. That's horrible. I hate when I like both players. I love when it's very easy for me. I honestly man.
So
yeah,
I made the right decision. Week 1, I started Hollywood, right decision. Week 2, Derek picked CEH, right decision. Week 3, I'm leaning CEH.
I have Hollywood in my DFS lineup, so I'm all in on D Hollywood this week. I think he's going to be really good. And this is what, PPR, half PPR?
Yep, full PPR. I don't think I can go wrong.
I'm going to go Hollywood. Personally, I would go Hollywood.
Yep.
I know Shaq Leonard is out, but the Colts' run defense is still good. They're still fine. I mean, they held down Pearson week 1. Jacksonville, how did Jay Robson do last week? I'm going to pull that up because I'm interested. Because, I know they won the game, but the Colts were just a freaking disaster. Yeah, he averaged 2.8 yards per carry last week, James Robinson. Yeah, he scored the touchdown, but that's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. And listen, CEH ended up having that long run at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm a CEH guy. I totally get it. And I bet the over on his rushing yard. So when he got that long touchdown, I was losing it last week. he was not getting it done. And the weird thing is, they'll rush the ball 9 times, and you'll get 45 yards, and he might find the end zone. And plus, he plays for the Chiefs. But I think that Matthew Stafford is due for a really nice game. I think the Rams are going to do their thing. I don't think they're going to have a chance with Cooper Kupp. I think Allen Robinson has a nice day. And I think that's just going to lead to pass volume. And last week, we talked about Hollywood Brown being one of our sits because of the matchup with the Raiders. The Raiders are one of the toughest out-wide matchups on the year so far, and it worked out. I mean, Hollywood had 6 catches in that game, but didn't do much from a yardage standpoint. I think that him producing something against that Raiders defense showed me that, all right, I'm confident now that he has a decent matchup against the Rams out wide. So that's why I would take Hollywood personally.
So you don't have an issue with Ramsey and Hollywood whatsoever?
Ramsey hasn't shadowed in a while.
Yep.
He doesn't shadow. And the thing with Ramsey, too, is he actually kicks inside a lot. He does play some slot because they like to put him in closer to the line of scrimmage to make plays. And Hollywood plays mostly on the outside. So I actually I'm not that worried about it. But let me just see something real quick. I actually have their lineup percentages here that shows –
the O-line versus the front of the Rams scares me a little bit for Kyler.
So the Rams have given up the 3rd most points to wide receivers on the outside. 80% of that has been wide receivers playing outside.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't. Yeah.
And Hollywood bounces from one side to the other. So I'm looking at it on here. He plays a lot on. He plays a lot on the left. He's going to face Ramsey a decent amount, according to. But this is to give you an example. Ramsey's snap shares 43% on the left, 24 and 24. So he's all over the formation. So I don't think he's going to. That means he could potentially shadow Hollywood. He hasn't done it. He has not done it the first 2 weeks. So
thanks for that.
I'm rolling it. I'm rolling the dice. Yeah. Thanks for nothing. I'm the worst. All right.
Hey, and I got to check out. I gotta knock these chores out before the game starts. So I love the time with you, Gladys. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, love every second, Matt. We'll see you next week. I won't be here next week. Next week is the one weekend I will not be here, so I need you guys to hold down the fort with Sky and get it done. All right. Yeah, I might tune in. I might be a fan next week while I'm driving from Connecticut down to New Jersey to fly back to San Diego. So I'm doing a lot of traveling next weekend.
Your account or your burner account or both?
Just me. My burner accounts will still be there saying, you know who's awesome? That Bobby DeMarco guy. He's pretty cool. I love him. He's great. Let's get down to a couple more questions here. We got Matt, you can just jump off. We appreciate it, man. Thanks for jumping.
Bye, Matt. Thank you.
All right, man. See you later. Will Don start 2 full PPR? CeeDee Lamb, Bateman, Garrett Wilson, DK, Curtis Samuel. Projected to lose by 1. We're not sweating those projections. We got you. Which 2 are you going to start here in full PPR?
I like Curtis Samuel. I like his shares that he's been getting. I like his target share. There was this crazy stat that I wrote down and I can't remember, but Curtis Samuel's getting a huge target share, but it's he's averaging his ADOT is 2.2. But you don't care about that in PPR. You just care that he's getting that target share. So I like Curtis Samuel, and today I like DK Metcalf. Curtis Samuel, DK Metcalf. Although Garrett Wilson is really close. Check that. Curtis Samuel and Garrett Wilson.
I am not going to be really helpful here. I'm actually going to go DK and CeeDee Lamb.
Ouch.
I think Cooper Lamb. I think Cooper Rush. I think when I look at the data, when you look at Cooper Rush, he's actually not been terrible when throwing. Like CeeDee Lamb and him have not been terrible together. Like he's actually been competent. His start last year, both Lamb and Amari Cooper had a decent day. And last week he had 7 for 75 on 11 targets. Playing against a Cincinnati defense that is tougher against outside receivers. Now, with Michael Gallup back, I do suspect CeeDee Lamb to kick inside more. I think that he will play more in the slot. I think Noah Brown and Gallup on the outside. So I do think that CeeDee Lamb's safe. The Giants secondary, they don't scare me. They also are dealing with a decent amount of injuries in the secondary. They're missing one of their top cornerbacks. And then DK, it's time. He's had 6 and 7 targets. Now he plays Atlanta, who's terrible against outside receivers. And the other thing, too, is he's had like 30 yards each game, which is super weird. I don't know. I think he's due today. I think it's just a DK. So I'm going to go DK. And I think Bateman's dealing with an injury. That's the only reason why I'm not really excited to start him. So I think that's why I'm going to go CeeDee Lamb
and
DK
said,
Metcalf.
Metcalf is the Atlanta defense is giving up the 5th most fantasy points to outside receivers.
Yeah. So that's kind of my thought there. All right. Let's jump down to Zip. Need 2 receivers out of Metcalf, London, and Garrett Wilson PPR. Glass, what's your thoughts?
Well, now I have to change because Metcalf is playing Atlanta, who is giving up the 5th most fantasy points to outside receivers. So Metcalf would be 1. Garrett Wilson, I have this stat. He ran 78% of the routes, and he has the most touches of anyone inside this 10-yard line. So I'm going to go Wilson and Metcalf.
Yeah. So London has got a tough matchup against Seattle's perimeter defense. I know when I was looking this up the other day, Drake London has 0 slot targets this year. 0 receptions, no production out of the slot. And in Seattle, what they do is they push everything to the middle for some reason, and they have been very good against perimeter wide receivers. So I'm going to go Metcalf and Garrett Wilson in this one. Linderfins, how do you feel about Shepard versus Woods half PPR? My answer right away is Sterling Shepard. I'm feeling some Sterling Shepard on Monday night, but Gladys, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I just don't like Monday night games, but yeah, I would Shepard. I'm not worried about Woods. I would go with Shepard.
Yeah, Woods is injury too. I mean, he's still coming. He's very slow. That offense it's very weird. Kyle Phillips was the guy in week 1. Then those Traylon Burks. Woods he's on the field, but he's not producing at all. He had like 1 catch last week. Like I said before, when these guys are coming back from injuries, we're wrong some of the time. Some guys hit the ground running, but a lot of guys don't. And it takes a couple weeks, maybe even to halfway through the season. So I'm going to go with Sterling Shepard, which ironically is also hurt. So everything I just said doesn't make any sense. But he had 10 targets last week, so I'm going to follow the targets. There you go. Granville, Houston. Good morning, team. I'm currently flexing James Conner and Michael Carter. Should I bench one of them? These guys for either Dotson, Shepard, or Noah Brown. So you got the stud running backs technically in. You got to bench him. Dotson, Shepard, or Noah Brown. I'm probably not going to. Gladys, what's your thoughts?
James Conner's ankle worries me a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think if they were better options, I would take the chance. Like if it was Curtis Samuel instead of Dotson, or if it was anyone instead of Shepard, or if it was CD. No, keep him in. I mean, because you're going to hate yourself if you sit Conner and he comes up with 10 touchdowns because they only put him in on the goal line on his broken ankle. So yeah, no, don't bench him.
Yeah, I think with Conner too, we talked about this earlier. He found the end zone every game against the Rams last year. I know he's got a bum wheel, but it was a minor ankle sprain, which Pro Football Doc said it was like like rolling your ankle in basketball. It wasn't anything high ankle, it was nothing serious. But you always have the risk with Conner of re-injuring himself. But at the same time, when you have like Noah Brown, Shepard, Dotson, I think Dotson and Shepard, especially in my opinion, I'm excited. I like them. I'm into them and Noah Brown, but I'm not going to start those guys over by the way, the Cardinals-Rams game could be insane. That could be a very high-scoring game. So just give me Connor. I'm okay with it. Don't overthink this one, but I appreciate the question. It is a 14-team half PPR. Thank you for clarifying. We appreciate that, Brando. All right, Josh Peterson, pick 2. Shout out to Josh Peterson. Probably the easiest name for me to say today. I love every second of that. That's good, man. Come back. We love it. Pick 2 PPR, Christian Kirk, Michael Thomas, Gabe Davis. Gladys, what's your thoughts?
Christian Kirk, Michael Thomas.
Agreed. Listen, Gabe Davis is only about 40% according to SixScore.com. Fade him until he's right. You don't want to get there. Linder Fins, my PCP just says Aldo Ribio when he wants me to cough. Oh, okay. Got it. Perfect.
What?
I don't even know what that means. He or she got me to read it on air, and I respect you for that. And that's what we do here. We read all the weird shit you guys put out here. Absolutely. Christian Miller, do I bite the bullet and start Mariota over Brady? We did answer something similar earlier, Gladys. What's your thoughts here?
I'm sorry. I'm out on Brady for right now.
Yeah.
Mariota would be my start over. Yes, bite the bullet. Bite it hard. Start Mariota over Brady.
Yeah. It doesn't even matter what kind of bullet it is. Whatever the bullet you got, I'm biting it, folks. So if it's a small, little, Glock, whatever you got there, yeah, if it's a rifle, I'm biting any bullet you got. I'm taking Mariota here. Mariota last week, I played Mariota last week, and he decided to – remember the rushing touchdown that he should have had? And the ball – oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the wrong guy. That's Justin Fields. Justin Fields last week was the guy they had that stupid touchdown where it was supposed to be called a touchdown. You could see the ball over the goal line, but the refs were like, no, we called it a non-touchdown, and no review is going to make us change. I'm like, are you serious? You clearly see the ball over. Anyway, but Mariota also, was okay. I think his rushing production offers you a nice floor. Call me crazy. But, yeah, that's that. All right, that's all we got for now. All these questions that we appreciate. Christian Miller, come back anytime, man. We got you covered on the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel. Make sure everybody checks. The latest injuries are out for this week. Make sure you're checking that you guys are in. Make sure you're checking all your lineups and all that stuff. I'm going to take a quick commercial break. Gladys, I don't know if you're staying on for a little bit. You're going to be able to hang around for another 20, 30 minutes?
14.
14 minutes. All right. So I got Gladys for 14 more minutes. But we're going to take a quick break. Gladys, go stretch your legs. We're going to give you 3 minutes. We have a special commentator. It's about a 3-minute video about our buy, sell, and holds for this week. We'll be back right after this.
You might be wondering why it looks so sad. It's because we recently lost my favorite person depicted on money, Queen Elizabeth. No fear, my dearest donkey, I'm here for you. The ghost of Queen Elizabeth. Oh my God, huge fan. I love that you had subjects. I too love subjects like paint, cucumbers, and fantasy football. Fantasy football is one of my favorite subjects. Would you like to join me for our first buy-sell of the season? This would be my greatest honor. Buy Traylon Burks. Wow, tea and crumpets with the Queen. This is a dream come true. I wouldn't trade this experience for anything, except maybe Traylon Burks in my fantasy football league. You didn't draft Traylon? What kind of fantasy football expert are you? I know. The Titans rookie immediately surged to the top of the Tennessee wide receiver pecking order. A.J. Brown totaled over 1,000 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns as a rookie with Tannehill at quarterback. There's an outside chance Burks exceeds those lofty numbers, and we have an excess of riches. Oh, wretched excess. My favorite kind of excess. I also love wretched excess. I think I love you. Sell. Najee Harris. Queen, before we get too hot and heavy, as a donkey and a ghost often will, I found something very distressing from around your Platinum Jubilee. This is from Gray's Week 12 Buy, Sell, Hold. Donkey. Gray was from another life. It's not Gray. You were riding a horse. It's so upsetting. Like Najee Harris and how he might let his fantasy owners down. The second year back mistimed this preseason with a Lisfranc injury. And now he's hampered by an ankle injury too. Would you like me to ride you, donkey? Donkey? Hold. George Pickens. I wanted to tell you all these interesting tidbits, like how this clock was named after Ben Roethlisberger. I'm hurt, like someone who drops George Pickens likely will be. He has the talent to match any wide receiver in the game. Be patient with this kid on your fantasy bench. Jamar Chase helped win a ton of fantasy leagues down the stretch during his rookie season last year. Pickens could make a similar impact. Please, let me ride you, donkey. Fine. Thank you, donkey, for being so understanding and muscular.
All right, hope you enjoyed some anime donkey video from Razzball.com. Before we finish and close the show, we do have a couple more questions. Gladys will be jumping back on in just a moment. But we got you, Ben, for a quick one. Ben Dawson, in half PPR, should I start Olave or Elijah Moore? Now, we've talked about both these guys a couple times today. Olave's got, the Panthers seem like a paper tiger when it comes to defense. Haven't really faced any notable players just yet. But so far the numbers say that the Panthers are tough on them. Elijah Moore has a tougher matchup against the Cincinnati outside cornerbacks this week. So I actually might take the shot here and go Chris Olave over Elijah Moore there. But I think at this point, I'm not overly excited to start either of these guys, but I am actually going to go Chris Olave. All right. So that's all we got for today. I think we pretty much covered it all, guys. We want to make sure everyone checks out the latest. We do have the injury report that we have for today's games. Make sure you're checking out. It looks like the weather is cleared up everywhere. There was any notable impacts for weather, so just make sure there is that. But overall, just make sure last second shot here for some injuries. Make sure you're checking the other updates. Jalen Johnson, for example, is big news for Nico Collins and also Brandon Cooks. I think Brandon Cooks' matchup gets a lot better now. Jalen Johnson is out there. It's not listed here as well. But overall, not too bad. Really appreciate you guys joining us today. Obviously, if you have any questions, make sure you hit up the comments. Make sure you join us next week. Once again, I'm your host, Bobby LaMarco. I appreciate you all jumping on today's show for the Sunday Live Sit-Star Show start week 3. Appreciate you being on again. Joy, good luck this Sunday. And make sure you follow us at Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel.